Chapter 141-Rescue. Oh, are you sure you are willing to use your life to save your elder brother? Feng Yi glanced at Michelet in surprise. He can sense that the other party is not lying. Yes, as long as I can save my eldest brother. We'll let you handle it. Michel breathed a sigh of relief, as long as he could save my eldest brother. Rather than being killed by the other party, it is better to take the initiative, so that he can get his big brother's life back. He knows that they are definitely not the opponents of everyone in front of him. Resistance is futile. Okay, not bad. You are quite smart and loyal. Feng Yi couldn't help isha when he heard this. In this way, if your pirate group promises to become the pirate group of our Maple Leaf Pirates, I won't kill you, and I will save your big brother by the way. Then Feng Yi said lightly, I want to take over the Michel Pirates. At present, there is only one explosive bear pirates under Feng Yi, and he has not seen a few strong pirates for so long. The pirates in front of him are not bad. The captain of the other party has a bounty of 5,000 W Bailey, and the most important Michelet in front of him is very affectionate. Such a person does not need to worry about betrayal when he receives his subordinates. Michelet hesitated immediately after hearing this. I don't know what my big brother means. 2. If your eldest brother doesn't agree, you will all die here. However, Feng Yi interrupted Michel lightly. Second update is coming. There is another update in the afternoon. Hearing Feng Yi's words, Michelet's pupils could not help shrinking. According to his understanding of his eldest brother's character, it is very difficult for his eldest brother to be subservient. It's troublesome now. Okay, I'll persuade my eldest brother. But at this time, there was no other way. Michelet could only promise Feng Yi that if his eldest brother really refused to agree, everyone would die together. Kaya, help their captain heal. Hearing this, Feng Yi opened his mouth to Kaya. Only then did Michelet call out all the people inside. The fewer people knew about Kaya's abilities, the better. I know. Michelet immediately understood. He was not stupid at all, he knew what Feng Yi meant, and hurriedly called out all his subordinates. Shiyu, you accompany Kaya in to heal their captain. Then Feng Yi taught Shiyu to follow him in. Tell me about the characteristics of your captain's illness. Feng Yi then asked Michelet. He wanted to know if Michelet had the same disease as Nami in the original book. Also suddenly remembered this. Well. Michel nodded when he heard the words, and quickly explained the process and symptoms of his elder brother's illness. Really? Feng Yi couldn't help but murmured in his heart after hearing this, his eyes flickered. He didn't expect that the captain of the other party, Michel, was really suffering from the serious disease that Nami suffered from in the original book. Yi had to marvel that the other party was able to support him for a month without dying. It seemed that he was supported by his own strong will to survive, otherwise he would have died long ago. How could it be delayed for a month? Feng Yi was secretly delighted. It seemed that he had found a very good subordinate. However, whether the other party is willing to become his pirate group will have to wait for Kaya to wake the other party up. If not, Feng Yi can only destroy the Michel pirate group. Kaya, the captain of the other party, Michel, the fever subsided, and the person also woke up. Then there was the joyous cry of his pirates and Michelet. Feng Yi didn't want to see such a scene, and appeared outside with all the girls. Master, are we going to accept their pirate group as our pirate group? Nami asked Feng Yi. Well, their strength is good. They can become our pirate group. Our current power is too small. We must recruit more pirate groups. Feng Yi nodded. Oh, Wen Yan Nami snorted softly, and then muttered. In that case, won't my 80 million Baileys go to waste? Ha ha. No, as our pirate group, you have to turn in a certain amount of Bailey every day, so you can make more money. Hearing Nami's muttering, Feng Yi couldn't help laughing, and then turned to her. Road. Really? Then why didn't you give that Nico bear to you? Nami said excitedly, and then asked Feng Yi. Ha ha, how did you know there was none? Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle when he heard this. Nico Shang has already given him the money, although not much, but there are hundreds of millions of Baileys. The sealed leaf was placed on the phantom. Feng Yi didn't even think about letting Nami know about it, but he just forgot it for a while. If it wasn't for Nami asking, he wouldn't have remembered it. Ah, master, you are actually hiding it. Nami immediately said angrily to Feng Yejiao. Okay, they're out. You can find it on the Phantom later. Feng Yi couldn't help laughing when he heard the words. Money was really not lacking for him, it was just a number. But it's temporary. He knew he would need a lot of money in the future. Nami nodded and smiled when she heard the words. She had no opinion on Feng Yi's plan to recruit the Michelle pirates under her banner. Then Nami turned back and saw Michelle's entire pirate group came out, a total of hundreds of people. Feng Yi also looked at each other, especially Michelle. After Kaya's healing, the whole person showed a powerful momentum. Eyes tough hockey, not a simple character. And when Feng Yi looked at each other, Michelle also looked at Feng Yi, and the angry look in his eyes flashed immediately. You want our Michelle pirates to become your pirate group? Michelle said to Feng Yi with a slightly angry tone. Although he was grateful to the other party for saving him, he didn't want to be someone else's men. Haha, it seems that you are unwilling, then since I can save your life, I can naturally take your life back. Feng Yi saw Michelle's appearance, and couldn't help but indifferent issue. Hockey all over his body outburst, suppress Michelle and go up. Boom. A powerful hockey immediately suppressed Michelle, making him feel as if his entire body was being weighed down by air. Humph. However, under Feng Yi's hockey, Michelle snorted, and hockey burst out from her body. Armament, hockey suppressed Feng Yi's hockey at once. Oh, hockey was also awakened. Feng Yi couldn't help but be surprised when he saw this. It seems that the other party is really not simple. It seems that the other party is a devil fruit person who has also awakened hockey. It seems that you are going to choose to die. And your crew members, disobeying my fate is only death. Looking at Michelle, Feng Yi said lightly. The dinner party, Michelle's two gods couldn't help but flash. He also knew how powerful Feng Yi was. He was able to kill Blue Ogre Dory and Brigitte, the Red Ghost. Even if he recovered from a serious illness and his strength skyrocketed, he would definitely not be Feng Yi. Opponent. There was a hesitation in his eyes. Damn, Michelle scolded angrily in his heart. It didn't matter if he died in battle, but he absolutely didn't want to implicate his subordinates and his younger brother. Chapter 142 _ The Pirate Group. I want our Michelle pirates to become your pirate group, that's okay. Let's beat me. In the end, Michelle could only get angry at Feng Yi, and subconsciously already agreed, but Feng Yi still needs to use it. Enough strength to prove that the Maple Leaf Pirates are worthy of his joining. Michelle's eyes were resolute and determined, and he didn't think he was Feng Yi's opponent. With his peculiar fruit ability, it was impossible to defeat Feng Yi, and it should still be possible to remain undefeated. Haha, good, only then will you be convinced. I also want to confirm whether your pirate group is worth recruiting. Let me see your strength. Fire Wolf type dog fruit ability. Hearing Michelle's words, Feng Yi couldn't help laughing isho, and then looked at the other party and said proudly. After Feng Yi knew the name of the Michelle pirates, he knew the abilities that Michelle had. The Michelle pirates also entered the Great Voyage Road from East Blue. They entered the Great Voyage Road after 4 years of going. Captain Michelle is a Fire Wolf type dog fruit person. Before Feng Yi entered the Great Voyage Road, he often paid attention to the bounties of all the pirates, and even the pirates in the Great Voyage Road did not miss out. As a pirate hunter, he must master all the pirates at the first time. Bounty information is fine. So even if the Michelle pirates stayed silent for 10 months in Little Garden, Feng Yi knew the information about the Michelle pirates as soon as he knew the name of the Michelle pirates. Humph. Then I'll let you see how good I am. Hearing this, Michelle hummed proudly, and then her body began to change. The clothes on her body began to crack, her body swelled, and red hair grew. After a while, Michelle transformed into a werewolf. Red-haired werewolf. Ow! I saw Michelle howl, and a flame spewed out of his mouth. Fire wolves can only breathe fire, and they can wave attacks with flames between attacks. If the whole body is a wolf formed by flames, it is a special existence in zone fruit, the fruit of the phantom beast type. Come on, let me see how strong the legendary fire wolf Michelle is. Looking at the well-prepared Michelle, Feng Yi immediately laughed Isho. Michelle in front of him is indeed an opponent. At least without using the ability of emotional fruit, he can be half as strong as Feng Yi. Humph. Except fire wolf claws. Facing Feng Yi's laughter, Michelle just snorted coldly, and then her hands that had already turned into wolf claws shot up towards Feng Yi's claws. It looks quite impressive, and Michelle's speed is also extremely fast. The attack came to Feng Yi in an instant. Clang. However, no matter how strong Michelle's attack was, it was blocked by the rain and dew drawn by Feng Yi in an instant, and the flame on the wolf's claws was extinguished by the cold air on the blade of Yulu. Boom. Then the rain and dew in Feng Yi's hands shook, and Michelle was shaken back by Feng Yi. Roar. Although she was knocked back, Michelle was not at all timid. She immediately shouted and attacked again. This time, the flames suspected to gather on the claws were even more intense, which also meant that Michelle's attack was even more intense. Strong. Good come. Feng Yi saw Isho, the blade in his hand slashed out again, but this time it was suspected that a fierce sword chi had gathered on it. Wind photography. Chi chi chi. Countless sandstorms swirled around, and in an instant, the figures of Feng Yi and Michelle filled it. The members of the Michelle pirates who saw this scene were all shocked, so they watched less than a change in battle. But they also saw that their captain seemed to be at a disadvantage. Hoo hoo hoo. Clang clang. Inside the sandstorm, Michelle roared and shouted, and there was also the sound of blades colliding with wolf claws. The battle inside lasted directly for 5 minutes. Although people outside can't see it clearly, it can be seen from the continuous riots in the entire Kwangsha that the battle inside is only fierce. Boom. In the end, under their shocked and angry gaze, Michelle's figure was covered in blood and was slashed back by Feng Yi, and slammed down in front of the members of the Michelle pirates. Big brother. Captain. Seeing the bloodstains on Michelle's body, and even the transformation was lifted, Michelet and the other pirates were all shocked and hurriedly helped Michelle up. I'm fine. PFF'd. Michelle struggled to stand up directly, and spoke to Michelet and the others, but before the words were finished, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and her face became even paler. He looked at Feng Yi who came out of the mad sand with a little horror in his eyes. He didn't expect Feng Yi to be so powerful, and he was defeated in just 5 minutes. How is it? You Michelle pirates promised to be the pirate group of our Maple Leaf Pirates, right? Looking at Michelle, who was pale, Feng Yi said lightly, thinking about Michelle's performance in his heart. Is extremely satisfied. Though he couldn't support him for 5 minutes in Feng Yi's hands, Dory also couldn't support him for 5 minutes, and Michelle was just recovering from a serious illness, and his strength was only about 70% of his peak strength. 5 minutes in your hands is amazing. If it was in its heyday, Feng Yi would have been able to compete with Feng Yi undefeated for a period of time if he didn't use his emotional fruit. We promise. Facing Feng Yi's questioning, although Michelle's eyes were extremely unwilling, she still announced through gritted teeth. Ha ha, this is a man who knows current affairs. Kaya, help Michelle heal. Feng Yi immediately laughed Isha when he heard the words, and then said to Kaya. Brother Feng Yi. Kaya nodded, and then bursts of healing light were applied to Michelle's body. After a while in Michelle's shocked expression, he found that his injury soon recovered as before, and all the wounds on his body were gone. Yes, but the body is still very weak. Brother, are you alright? Michelet asked Michelle quickly when she saw that the injury on Michelle's body was healed. It's okay, I can't die. Michelle laughed lightly after hearing this. Then he turned his head and announced loudly to his subordinates. Brothers, our pirate group will be the pirate group of the Maple Leaf Pirates in the future. Any brother who doesn't want to stay on the boat can leave on his own. Now that he has lost and has promised, Michelle will no longer be angry and unwilling to accept it. Ah! How could this be? Chapter 143-Subdue. Our Michelle pirates are going to join another pirate group. Hearing Michelle's words, the crew members on their ship suddenly became commotion, and all of them exclaimed. Although I was in awe of Feng Yi's power, I never thought that my pirate group would join someone else's banner. Humph, I know you are not convinced. Anyone who does not want to be a member of my pirate group can leave. Feng Yi also snorted lowly at this time, and then threw a reward list from his body in front of them. It is the latest bounty list for all the crew members of the Maple Leaf Pirates. You guys have read these bounty lists and then consider whether you want to continue to be a member of my pirate group. A bounty list. Seeing the bounty list thrown by Feng Yi, everyone in the Michelle Pirates couldn't help but scream in surprise, and then I saw Michelet pick up the bounty list from the ground, and everyone watched the bounty list above at the same time. Nojiko 1200W Bailey, ah. It's that girl. Maggie 1600W Bailey, the black-haired beauty, the bounty is as high as the co-captains. Oh my god. Nami 4000W Bailey. Shiu 4200W Bailey. As the bounty list was watched one by one, the Michelle Pirates exclaimed one by one. Unexpectedly, the beauties on the other party's boats offered more bounties than one. Two of them actually reached the 4000W Bailey bounty. Captain Feng Yi, oh my god, there is a bounty of more than 100 million Baileys. The entire Maple Leaf Pirates has almost reached the bounty of 300 million Baileys. After seeing the bounty of everyone in the Maple Leaf Pirates, the elder brothers of the Michelle Pirates were all shocked, even Michelle, who never thought that the overall strength of the other pirates was so strong. The number of people seems small, but the bounty is n times more than theirs. When did such a powerful pirate group appear on the Great Voyage Road? How come we don't know? Could it be that you have just entered the Great Sea Route? Feng Yi, are you Feng Yi, the pirate hunter from East Blue? Everyone exclaimed, and finally someone recognized Feng Yi. Most of them entered the Great Voyage Road from East Blue. At that time, Feng Yi was just famous, so they all knew about the Maple Leaf Hunter. That's right. It's me, but now I'm not a pirate hunter, but a pirate. Hearing the exclamation of the pirate, Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle. Seeing the shocked expressions on the faces of the Michelle Pirates who knew the bounty on their ship, Feng Yi was heartbroken. How is it? Are you willing to become the crew of my pirate crew now? Then Feng Yi asked again. The captain has already spoken, how could we disagree? Yeah, the Maple Leaf Pirates are so powerful, it's not ashamed for us to join them. This time, when they heard Feng Yi's words, the crew members of the Michelle Pirates changed their attitude and said one after another. The ordinary members of the entire Michelle Pirates were frightened by the bounty list Feng Yi threw, and then surrendered. No way, this is no better than gaining power in the four major outer seas. They have all crossed the Great Sea Route. If there is no certain strength to deter them, the other party will not buy it at all. Even Michelle didn't feel so unwilling after knowing the strength of the Maple Leaf Pirates. Okay, then from today, your Michelle Pirates are the pirates of our Maple Leaf Pirates. Wen Yan Fengye said lightly Isho. Also, since you have become my pirate group, I will help you improve your strength in the next few days. And Michelet, I also have a zone devil fruit on my boat, just here you go. I don't need anyone on my ship. Then Feng Yi said again and again, and finally said to Michelet. Ah! Devil fruit! Hearing this, Michelle suddenly burst out in surprise, her face full of excitement. He didn't expect Feng Yi to give him a devil fruit. You must know that every devil fruit is worth more than 100 million Baileys, and even money can't buy it. Here it is. Michelet has long envied his brother for being a devil fruit person, but after entering the Great Voyage Road for more than 4 years, they just didn't find any other devil fruit, which made him regretful. Feng Yi donating a devil fruit to him at this time is simply the greatest favor. Michelet looked at Feng Yi with a look of admiration and respect immediately. Thank you, even Michelle said to Feng Yi with an excited expression after hearing Feng Yi's words. Only Nami looked depressed in the back. Isn't this a waste of 100 million Bailey? But thinking that they will hand it back in the future, Nami is relieved. That afternoon, Feng Yi gave Michelle the devil fruit, and the one who woke up was actually a dog fruit. But it's not a wolf type, it's a jackal type. But it's similar to the wolf, brother jackal. Michelet's strength has soared several times at once. Michelet, who originally only had a bounty of 1000 W Bailey, as long as he has mastered the ability of the jackal-shaped fruit, it is definitely not a problem for the bounty to reach 2000 W Bailey. In the next few days, Feng Yi also said where Dory and Brigitte were originally, found their permanent pointer and gave them a Michelet. All they need is one. It's useless to have more, which also saves Michael and the others staying for 2 months. For those ordinary pirate crew members, Feng Yi, who could help awaken Hockey, also helped them awaken Hockey. Of course, the stronger the pirate group, the better. A full 21 crew members awakened Hockey with Feng Yi's help. Except Michael as observation Hockey, everyone else is armament Hockey. Feng Yi's action made the people of the Michelet pirates feel even more in awe of him. He was able to help them awaken Hockey, and awaken so many people's Hockey at once. How unimaginable is this? In the past 3 days, Feng Yi did not waste the manpower of the Michelle pirates. All the meat that needed to be prepared on the blood dragon was hunted and killed, while Feng Yi brought the girls to play on the island. Did not leave until 3 days later, going directly in the direction of Alabasta. Originally, Feng Yi wanted to visit Chopper's hometown, but he thought about it. He wouldn't recruit Chopper there, and it would be meaningless to go there. There were no beautiful women on it. It's just an old woman. Feng Yi has no interest at all. Princess Vivi and Nico Robin, soon we'll meet. A week later, standing on top of the dragon head of the blood dragon, looking at the continent in front of him, which is Alabasta, Feng Yi couldn't help but smile. Ask for a monthly pass and give it to the arrival of the evil emperor of Naruto, thank you very much. Chapter 144-arrive. After a few days of sailing, Feng Yi and the others finally came to Alabasta. Alabasta, which has been dry for half a year. Nami, after you arrive on the island, you will go to each town in Alabasta with your mother and the others to make money. Try to earn Bailey, but don't consume too much, there is a very powerful enemy on this island. After reaching the shore, Feng Yi said to Nami. At the same time, he also instructed Xiu and the others. Feng Yi is going to a place alone, to the Baroque Works Club. See if you can meet Nico Robin. As for Princess Vivi, she should still be in the palace at this time. It's easy for Feng Yi to see him. As long as the news of Nami's reign comes out, the king will come to meet them in person soon. Princess Vivi is here. Master, are you going to act alone again? Nami snorted at Feng Yejiao immediately after hearing the words. As soon as he heard it, he knew what Feng Yi wanted to do. Ha ha, the place where the master goes is more dangerous. Nami, you still need to make money. You won't earn Bailey if you go with me. Feng Yi heard this, he couldn't help but gently show. Nami was getting to know him better and better, which made Feng Yi extremely happy. The girls on the boat also knew Feng Yi better. Humph, just go by yourself, don't hinder Miss Ben from earning Bailey. Nami said with a smile when she heard the words. Then Feng Yi left alone, heading for the town where Baroque Works is located. Even in the face of Crocodile, the sand crocodile, Feng Yi was not afraid, so he went straight to their headquarters. This damn sand crocodile, this desert kingdom is already hot, and to frame it into a drought, it's really not a motherfucker, it's killing me. As he was on his way, Feng Yi couldn't help but scolded the sand crocodile in a low voice. Clang. Only then did Feng Yi pull out the rain and dew, and the air within 2 meters around him dropped slightly, making Feng Yi feel a little cool. After half a day, Feng Yi came to Yudi, where Baroque Works is located. After entering the sand crocodile's lair, Feng Yi remembered that it was a place for gambling, and it was full of gambling tables. The moment he saw the gaming table, Feng Yi thought of a way to force the people from Baroque Works to come out. Hey, let's have fun, keep winning, until Sand Crocodile can't afford to lose, he will definitely send someone out. Feng Yi Hey Isho, There are too many people here. He can't sense it. Sand Crocodile and Robin, are they not here? So gamble to force them out is the best. It would be bad if he did it as soon as he came. So the Sand Crocodile is also a hero of this country. If he fights as soon as he comes, and waits for the soldiers of the country to catch him, it will be troublesome. On the contrary, if he wins too much money and the other party troubles him, there is a reason for him to do it again. Forgot to bring money. But as soon as he touched his pocket, Feng Yi realized sadly that he had forgotten to bring the money, and the chips could not be exchanged. How could he bet? Sir, do you need to exchange chips or other services? Feng Yi was standing at the door, and a beautiful waiter came forward and said respectfully to Feng Yi. In addition to gambling, there are of course luxurious dining. But there are very few, and the ones here are more expensive than the ones out there. Are there any special services? Hearing the waiter's words, Feng Yi couldn't help muttering "Isho," then looked at the waitress and laughed. Looking at her chest, half of her breasts are exposed, and it looks a bit seductive. Sir, what kind of special service do you need? The waitress heard Feng Yi's words, and Vivi couldn't help but ask. She obviously didn't know what Feng Yi said about the special service. Of course it's beautiful service. Feng Yi couldn't help Isho when he heard the words. Looking greedily at the half-exposed breasts of the waitress knew what Feng Yi said, and immediately blushed. I'm sorry sir, we don't have this kind of special service here. The waitress immediately said to Feng Yi with a blushing face. That's fine, anyway, I don't have any money on me now. Feng Yi heard this and couldn't help but faintly Isho. Where did you change the chips? Take me there. Okay, sir, come with me. The waitress immediately breathed a sigh of relief when she heard the words, and then said sweetly to Feng Yi. I don't believe that Feng Yi said that he has no money, and he still has a gold watch in his hand. Miss, can you help me see how many chips my gold watch can be exchanged for? After arriving at the counter where the chips were exchanged, Feng Yi immediately took off the gold watch in his hand, and the beautiful lady who threw it on the counter said lightly. No way, he has such a valuable thing with him. Fortunately, I brought a gold watch, otherwise I would have to pawn the rain and do first. The waitress who brought Feng Yi over couldn't help but be stunned when she saw this. It turns out that Feng Yi really has no money. That handsome appearance and the expensive casual dress can't be seen at all. Apparently Feng Yi was not the first person to exchange his belongings for chips. The lady who divided the pieces into pieces exchanged some chips for Feng Yi based on the value of Feng Yi's gold watch. Sir, please keep it. Here are 20 W. Bailey's chips. Only 20 W. Bailey, but it doesn't matter how much, anyway, I will win it back later. Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle when he heard the words, took the chips and headed towards the gaming table. Feng Yi, who can know the banker's mood changes, is not easy to win money. If the banker doesn't know whether to win or lose, he won't believe it. No matter where the casino is, it's the same. It's not based on luck at all. Gambling has always only been the more you lose, the less you win. Then Feng Yi came to a gambling table with points and sizes. A dozen people are betting on the table. Hurry up, buy it and leave. I'm overwhelmed. I buy small. I've fought hard, I'll crush the leopard. The voices of the dealer and the gamblers immediately rushed into Feng Yi's ears. Feng Yi didn't press down, most of the people on the stage were pressed up, and a few were pressed down. Feng Yi was sensing the change in the banker's mood. Feng Yi soon decided that this game will still be a big one. The dealer wants to give them one more win, and they will win all the next game. Hey! Feng Yi sneered and put all the chips on the big one. It would be nice to bring Yu Xin as well. If she can directly know the other person's heart, she can buy points. Feng Yi couldn't help but smile in his heart. Buy and leave. Open. 4, 4, 5, 13. In less than half an hour, the middle-aged banker in front of Feng Yi was already in a cold sweat. For nothing else, in less than half an hour, Feng Yi in front of him had already won dozens of consecutive wins. Take it, Bailey, who just lost it in his hands, is already 100 million Bailey tall. Chapter 145-Robin. Vice President. Someone has 200 million won Baileys in a row with us, and he doesn't seem to want to leave. What are we going to do? In a luxurious office, a middle-aged man walked in. Respectfully he said to a tall and slender beauty sitting inside. Oh, that person cheated. With a light murmur on the lips, Nico Robin opened her beautiful eyes and looked at the middle-aged man indifferently and asked. No, I didn't find any trace of cheating. The middle-aged man replied immediately after hearing this. I see, I know, you go down first. Nicole Robin said with a faint smile. Yes, Mr. Vice President. After the middle-aged man replied respectfully, he went down quickly. Nico Robin, on the other hand, sat on the chair with ease, with a pair of slender legs, mobilized the equipment in front of her, and soon saw Feng Yi on the gaming table from the screen. Feng Yi, the captain of the Maple Leaf Pirates. He actually appeared here. Nico Robin couldn't help but whispered after seeing Feng Yi's appearance. The eyes that originally did not care are also slightly suspicious. It's interesting again now. I hope you win a little Bailey and leave, if you win too much. Then Nico Robin is the shallow issue. And until Zhao Kongming won more than 400 million Bailey, no one came down. Feng Yi also knew that it was time to go. Since the people inside didn't come out, then there was no way for him to continue. However, in the perception, Feng Yi has already sensed that the people who have Ballots Work Club have become hostile to him. Then Feng Yi got up, picked up the chips and put them on the counter to exchange for Bailey. Miss, excuse me, please replace all Baileys for me. Also, exchange my gold watch for it. Feng Yi smiled and said to the lady above the counter. At this time, the beautiful young lady had a look of shock on her face after seeing Bailey, who had more than 400 million chips in Feng Yi's hands. It's not that she hasn't seen anyone who wins here, but someone like Feng Yi who has won more than 400 million Baileys at once. This is her first contact. Dear sir, wait a minute, you exchanged too much Bailey, please wait a moment. Here is your gold watch. But that young lady was someone who had seen the scene. After Vivi was surprised, she immediately smiled respectfully, and at the same time, Ba Fengye returned the gold watch that was originally pawned to Feng Yi. Then she went down, entered a hidden room and disappeared. There is not much cash at the counter, so go to withdraw money. Humph. When I go out, there should be some members of the ballot works who come to trouble me. Seeing the lady at the counter go down to get the money, Feng Yi chuckled in his heart. Feng Yi still knew about this trick of the casino. Unless Crocodile was an idiot, he would watch non-local gamblers win a lot of Bailey and leave. After a while, the lady at the counter came out with 2 cash boxes in each hand, 4 boxes in total. Sir, this is your 400 million Baileys. After that lady put all the boxes in front of Feng Yi, she respectfully said to Feng Yi. The rest are for you. Feng Yi nodded and smiled when he saw this, and the remaining millions of Bailey's chips in his hand were also thrown on the stage. Ah! Thank you, sir. When the counter lady heard the words, she immediately said to Feng Yi gratefully, that she had never met someone who was generous, and it was the first time she had seen someone who lost millions of Baileys like Feng Yi. This is equivalent to her salary for several years. It's no wonder she's not excited. Looking at Feng Yi with those eyes, even if Feng Yi asked her to dedicate herself, she would happily take off her clothes. Hey! Seeing the excited look of the lady at the counter, Feng Yi couldn't help sneering in his heart, then picked up the 4 boxes, and turned to leave. If Nami knew that money was so easy to earn, she would definitely drag me to the casino every day. Holding the 400 million Bailey in his hand, Feng Yi couldn't help thinking that if Nami knew that he had earned 400 million in an hour, what kind of expression will Eberly say? 400 million Bailey, Crocodile's net worth is around 2 billion at most. 400 million won by me all of a sudden. He chuckled in his heart, and Feng Yi quickly left. Feng Yi knew that people from Baroque Works would come to him, so he went straight out of the rain and went in one direction at will. Just let me see who is chasing after him. Not far from the town, Feng Yi threw the 400 million Bailey in his hand on the desert, and then turned to look at the person who came. Behind Feng Yi, a total of 4 people followed. It's actually Mr. 1 and Mr. 4, with their partners. After seeing who was coming, Feng Yi couldn't help thinking secretly. Among the 4 people who came, there were 2 men and 2 women. One was Mr. 1, a strong man with short white hair, and beside him was a Mr. Legs. What caught Feng Yi's attention the most was her slender waist, as if she could hold it with one hand. Next are the big fat Mr. 4 and the old woman Mr. Merry Christmas. Hey, who is the one hiding in the dark? Feng Yi looked at the 4 of Mr. 1, but sneered in his heart. Within his range of perception, another mood swing appeared in Mr. 1 behind the 4. It should be Nico Robin. Feng Yi was excited for a while. Mr. 1 came out, so the one who was hiding behind them was most likely Nico Robin. Who are you? Although he knew who the people in front of him were, Feng Yi still asked them in a low voice. What's the purpose of following me? Captain Feng Yi of the Maple Leaf Pirates, put down the 400 million Baileys in your hands. You can leave now. Mr. 1 looked at Feng Yi arrogantly, and said lightly, no matter how powerful Feng Yi was rumored to be, as long as he's a swordsman, he doesn't care about it at all. Yes, boy, you shouldn't be so greedy, you should keep Bailey. Otherwise, we will make you die ugly. The old lady Mr. Merry Christmas also sneered. Humph, it turned out to be from the casino. I didn't expect you to lose so much. Feng Yi snorted coldly when he heard this, and then looked at the 4 of them and sneered. Humph, it seems that you don't want to obediently let go of the 400 million Bailey. The old lady Mr. Merry Christmas immediately snorted coldly after hearing the words. Although I don't put 400 million Baileys in my eyes, I will definitely not give it to you rubbish. If you want to get my money back, it's very simple, just beat me. But you have to think about it clearly, under my hands, you will die. Feng Yi heard the words with a sneer in return, and the killing all over his body came out in an instant, and the 4 people in front of him were overwhelming. For a time, the expressions of Mr. 1 and the others changed slightly, and the murderous aura emanating from Feng Yi was too powerful. Humph, come on, kill him and get those Baileys back. Mr. 1 said coldly after Vivi was shocked, and then rushed up to Feng Yibang first. Body of Rage, come out. Chapter 146 Mr. Point 1_. Puff. After Feng Yi's words fell, a figure with anger all over his body immediately emerged from Mr. Point 1 feet's body, and finally blocked in front of Mr. 1. Ah! What's that? Seeing Mr. Point 1 feet's body of anger, all of them couldn't help exclaiming, how could they not know that Feng Yi had this ability? Hee, there is another body of anger, come out too. Feng Yi saw their surprised appearance, but it was the evil Isho. Looking at the fat man Mr. 4, he snorted again. It was another body of anger. From Mr. Point 4 feet's body emerged, and then he stood in front of the deity Mr. 4. Ah, what is this? Mr. 4 exclaimed, waving the huge stick behind him to attack his angry body. Boom! However, Mr. Point 4 feet's body of anger instantly blocked his attack with the same attack. Bang bang bang. Mr. Point 1 is also fighting with his body of anger quickly. It actually has the same ability to cut fruit as me. What the hell is going on? Mr. 1 became more and more frightened. This was the first time he had encountered such a battle, fighting against the same self. Mr. Fingers, come on, he only created the body of anger from me and Mr. 4. We should only be able to use 2. We block him, you hurry up and attack him, so that he can't be distracted and controlled. While fighting with his own body of anger, Mr. 1 quickly pointed to Mr. with both hands. Yes, I get it. After Mr. responded coldly with his fingers, he rushed towards Feng Yibang even more quickly. After rushing to Feng Yi, Mr. S fingers quickly attacked, and his legs in high heels attacked Feng Yi fiercely. Humph, don't even plan to use the power of the thorn fruit. Seeing this, Feng Yi couldn't help but sneer in his heart, and with a dodge, he avoided the attack of Mr. S fingers. Kai. Then Feng Yi's figure flashed, and he came behind Mr. S fingers, and the cold rain and dew immediately crossed her neck, so fast that she couldn't even react. Don't move. I'm welcome to move anymore. Even if you are a beautiful woman, I won't hold back. Then Feng Yi's voice resounded faintly behind Mr. S fingers. Jia Jia, look how good I am. Puff. However, as soon as Feng Yi's words fell, the sand under him suddenly loosened, and the old woman Mr. Merry Christmas appeared from under Feng Yi's feet, and then attacked Feng Yi up. Humph. Seeing this, Feng Yi snorted coldly and could only jump back and leave, but at the same time that Feng Yi jumped back and left, Feng Yi also blasted the old woman with a slash. Bloodthirsty fang broken. Kai. A blood-red slash immediately attacked the old woman, causing the old woman who hadn't attacked Feng Yi's face to change slightly, and she lowered her head and hurriedly got into the desert. Boom. Then Feng Yi's slash was bombarding the desert, and the thick sand also struck a deep pit for Feng Yi's slash. Mr. on the side was stunned when he saw it with his fingers. He was horrified by the power of Feng Yi's attack. Damn old woman. Although you are also a woman, I won't let you go. After Feng Yi stepped aside, he sensed that the old woman was burrowing into the ground to attack him again. He couldn't help sneering in his heart. The rain and dew in his hand slashed, and then he stabbed the sand in front of him fiercely. Don't. Mr. who knew the old woman Mr. Merry Christmas's way of attacking her fingers, immediately screamed in horror when she saw Feng Yi's attack. Instinctively, she felt that Feng Yi found the traces of Mr. Merry Christmas's actions, but how is this possible? You must know that Mr. Merry Christmas shuttles through the ground, but it will not cause any movement, only when it burrows out of the ground will there be movement. What's going on? At this time, Mr. Merry Christmas, who had not yet emerged from the ground, also instinctively sensed danger, but before she could react, she only felt the heart trembled, as if it had been directly penetrated by the blade. Puff. Feng Yi's rain and dew pierced directly into the desert, and a burst of blood immediately resounded from nowhere, and then dyed the sand in front of Feng Yi red. Just a knife, Mr. Merry Christmas was beheaded by Feng Yi in the desert inside. Puff. Then Feng Yi pulled the rain and dew out of the desert, and the blood did not touch a drop of blood. However, a life was taken away by it. Feng Yi clearly felt that Mr. Merry Christmas's emotional fluctuations were constantly weakened, representing with her life as constantly passing. There was no time for 2 seconds, and the emotional fluctuations in the sand in front of Feng Yi completely disappeared. Ah! Seeing that Mr. Merry Christmas was killed by Feng Yi, Mr. S fingers immediately exclaimed. The old woman rescued her just now. You devil! After shouting coldly at Feng Yi, Mr. S fingers rushed towards Feng Yi again. Thorns trample. This time, Mr. S fingers did not continue to hide the fact of her thorn fruit ability, and immediately used the thorn fruit ability to attack. Humph! Facing the attack of Mr. S 2 fingers, Feng Yi just snorted lightly, the rain and dew in his hand slashed, and immediately blocked the attack of Mr. S 2 fingers. Ball of Thorns. Warhammer of Thorns. Thorns trample. The face of the mighty Feng Yi, Mr. S fingers did not hide anything, and all the attacking tricks were used, but they were all easily defended by Feng Yi. Although Mr. S fingers were powerful, he was also a devil fruit person. Her strength is also very strong. If she is offered a bounty, she can have a bounty of more than 20 million Baileys, but she is facing Feng Yi. This strength is really not enough. So strong. What should I do? I'm no match at all. While fighting with Feng Yi with his fingers, Mr. couldn't help crying bitterly. He couldn't help but glance at Mr. 1 and Mr. 4 from the corner of his eyes, but he found that they were both entangled in their own angry bodies and could not draw at all. Come and join him to deal with Feng Yi. Seeing this, Mr. smiled bitterly with his fingers again. How could she be Feng Yi's opponent alone? The plan was for the 4 of them to join forces to deal with Feng Yi, but he didn't expect Feng Yi to have such a strange ability, to be able to summon the enemy's body of anger and let him and the deity kill each other. Let their plans be broken in an instant. So far, she is the only one who is fighting against Feng Yi, who has a reward of over 100 million. Beauty, are you interested in joining our Maple Leaf Pirates? I welcome a beauty like you. Chapter 147-Thorn Rose. While fighting with Mr. S. fingers, Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle at her. Watching Mr. S. waist twist between the fingers of Mr.'s fingers, it is extremely beautiful. Mr. S. fingers in front of him have already made Feng Yi move to recruit her. Otherwise, Feng Yi would not be able to fight her slowly. With Feng Yi's ability, he could defeat Mr. with his fingers with just a few moves. Humph, I'm not interested. However, what answered Feng Yi was the cold snort of Mr. S. fingers. And then more than that, what greeted Feng Yi was another powerful attack from Mr. S. fingers. Hey, it's really a rose with thorns. But it has character. I like it. Mr. S. fingers, Feng Yi couldn't help laughing. Humph, I didn't expect the rumored captain of the Maple Leaf Pirates to be a pervert. While fighting against Feng Yi, Mr. S. fingers couldn't help but blushed when he heard the words, and he immediately smiled at Feng Yi sarcastically. According to rumors, all the women on the Feng Yi jellyfish group are women, so it is inevitable that Feng Yi is a super pervert. Everyone knows it. Otherwise, the crew will not only recruit women, and they are all beautiful women. Tisk tisk, I was actually scolded as a pervert. Feng Yi couldn't help but click Isha when he heard this, knowing that Mr. S. fingers in front of him were definitely roses with thorns, cold and glamorous, but that's why Feng Yi wanted to recruit her to bed. On board. Boom. However, when Feng Yi was arrogantly playing with Mr. S. fingers and teasing her, a huge rumbling sound suddenly resounded. Feng Yi couldn't help turning his head when he heard the words, but found that Mr. 4 feet's body of anger was actually defeated by the deity Mr. 4. How is it possible? Feng Yi knew that Vivi couldn't help being shocked. He never thought that Mr. 4 would be able to defeat his body of anger. It only took less than 3 minutes. Then Feng Yi saw the extra-large gun on Mr. 4 feet's shoulder. There is a sparkle in the eyes. So it is. Seeing the gun in Mr. 4 feet's hand, Feng Yi suddenly realized that he knew why Mr. 4 feet's body of anger was defeated by the deity Mr. 4, and the reason was on the gun. Although Feng Yi was able to strip away Mr. 4 feet's body of anger, he couldn't strip out that gun. It was a gun that ate a devil fruit, and Mr. 4 relied on him to defeat his body of anger. Body. Go to hell. His own body of anger. Mr. 4 looked at another body of anger that was fighting with Mr. 1 and snorted, carrying the gun on his shoulder, facing Mr. 1 feet's body of anger. The body is a blast. Boom. However, Mr. 1 feet's body of anger has the ability to cut fruit, and his entire body can be turned into a blade that is harder than steel. Mr. 4 feet's attack on Mr. 1 feet's body of anger is equivalent to scratching him. Couldn't kill him at all. Humph. It was actually broken into a body of anger. Seeing this, Feng Yi couldn't help but hummed. The look on his face is full of fun, and you have defeated the body of anger, right? Actually, the body of anger is dead, so why do you still keep the deity? Of course, we go to see the king of hell together and disappear into this world. Beauty, I don't have time to play with you. It's time to end our battle. Then Feng Yi turned his head towards Mr. with his fingers gently isho. Instant. Then, under the sight of Mr. S 2 fingers, Feng Yi's figure suddenly disappeared, bursting out at such a speed that Mr. S fingers could not see any trace of movement. Not good. Seeing Feng Yi's speed, Mr. S fingers trembled, and he exclaimed in his heart. Whoosh. However, before she could react, Feng Yi's figure appeared behind her with both shoulders. Boom. Without any hesitation, the back of the knife in Feng Yi's hand slashed at the back of Mr. S fingers. Ah. Mr. S fingers just let out a coquettish whistle, and then he fainted, and his body fell forward. Feng Yi's eyes and hands are quick, and all of a sudden, he put Mr. S fingers in his arms, and his left hand just wrapped around the waist of the other party's fine willow. Start with ecstasy, the whole child is extremely slender. Feng Yi has never seen a woman with such a slender waist. But this is not the time to enjoy beautiful women. Feng Yi then placed Mr. S fingers on the desert, and then turned to look at Mr. 4. Damn it. Go to hell. The moment Feng Yi turned his head, what he saw was Mr. holding the gun in his hand. The gun muzzle was facing Feng Yi, and the bombardment came. Humph. Things that are beyond their own power, want to kill me just because of this. Dreaming. Seeing this, Feng Yi couldn't help but snorted. Disdain in the mouth. The rain and dew in his hand slashed out at the same time. Pung. The attack from Mr. 4 dissipated in an instant under the slash of the rain and dew in Feng Yi's hands. So strong. Mr. 4 was also shocked when he saw this, and then he ignored it and continued to bombard Feng Yi, which is bound to kill Feng Yi. Humph. Feng Yi sneered, and the figure flashed up. The rain and dew in his hand slashed again and again, and Feng Yi did not dodge the shells that came from the bombardment, but directly chopped them down with the rain and dew in his hand. Feng Yi, who made the explosive charge, looked like a rainbow, with an invincible aura. People stop killing people, gods stop killing gods, and demons stop demons. Boom. An instant, Feng Yi's figure appeared in front of Mr. 4. Kai. Didn't use any sword skills, just an ordinary slash. Mr. 4 couldn't dodge in time, he was slashed by Feng Yi, and blood spurted out. What? Mr. 4 screamed in agony, and the figure retreated again and again. Looking at Feng Yi with a terrified face, he didn't expect that he couldn't even defend himself. Chi chi chi. Feng Yi was also not polite to Mr. 4, and then he continued to attack with several ultimate moves. Soon, several wounds were added to Mr. 4's body. There was blood all over his body. Boom. Less than half a minute, Mr. 4's figure was blown out by Feng Yi's on, and smashed into the desert with a bang, and the gun on his shoulder also smashed to the side. No, don't kill me. Mr. 4 watched Feng Yi continue to walk towards him, and couldn't help but mutter to Feng Yi with a pair of big eyes in horror. Want to live? Feng Yi looked at Mr. 4 and asked lightly. When Mr. 4 heard the words, there was no need to answer. He nodded again and again, his eyes flashed with excitement. It seemed that he didn't need to be killed. Feng Yi must have something to ask him. Chapter 148_Method. Feng Yi saw what Mr. 4 looked like, that was Vivi Isho, turned to look in the direction of Mr. 1, and found that he was still entangled by his own body of anger, and it was impossible to defeat his own body of anger in a short time. Body. There's only 1 minute left. Enough for me to ask 2 questions. Feng Yi said indifferently in his heart. First question. What's the matter with your gun? How did you make it eat devil fruit? Feng Yi then asked Mr. 4. Let the weapon eat the devil fruit. Feng Yi has long wanted Yulu in his hand to eat the devil fruit, so that her Yulu can be more powerful, and his real strength can be improved because of this. At least the attack power can definitely be doubled. However, Feng Yi didn't know how to make the weapon swallow the devil fruit. Feng Yi tried several methods, but there was no way for the weapon to successfully swallow the devil fruit. However, the weapon in Mr. 4's hand was in existence that swallowed the devil fruit. Of course, Feng Yi wanted to know from the opponent that the weapon was swallowed. The devil fruit way. I know this. Hearing that Feng Yi originally asked such a simple question, Mr. 4 immediately said excitedly. Just throw the devil fruit into the sea, and then pierce it with whatever weapon you want to devour it, so that the weapon can get the power of that devil fruit. Mr. 4 said quickly. This is what he discovered by accident. Originally he got the devil fruit and wanted to eat it, but he accidentally fell into the sea. If he wanted to salvage it, he grabbed the devil in his hand and stabbed it into the sea. The fruit is there, and I want to salvage it, but I don't know if he eats the devil fruit after it is brought up, but he doesn't see any reaction. When I turned around, I realized that the gun in his hand had actually grown bigger. Only later did I find out that his gun had the ability to devour devil fruits. To actually throw the devil fruit into the sea. Rao was Feng Yi, and he couldn't help but exclaimed in a low voice when he heard the words. He never thought that it would be so easy to let the weapon swallow the devil fruit. But no one really thought of doing this. But even if they knew, no one would be willing to feed such a precious devil fruit to weapons. If I had known, I wouldn't have given that devil fruit to Michelle, or I could try it. Feng Yi couldn't help but feel regret, but there was nothing. If the devil fruit is gone, he can continue to look for it, so he doesn't have much regret. To get a devil fruit, it shouldn't be too difficult to seal a leaf. He's got loads of Baileys now. Second question. Who sent you to kill me? Looking at Mr. Four with satisfaction, Feng Yi then asked indifferently. Yes. Hearing Feng Yi's question, Mr. Four couldn't help but hesitate for a while, betraying the organization, but he will be hunted down by the organization. But don't say it, Feng Yi in front of him will kill him now. Yes, it's Baroque. Then, with a bite of silver teeth, Mr. Four looked up at Feng Yi, intending to tell Feng Yi that it was Baroque works. Woohoo! However, without waiting for Mr. Four to speak, on his neck, it was as if a flower suddenly bloomed, and two slender and pink jade hands grew. Click. However, the appearance of the jade hands is beautiful, but her motives are cruel. With the twisting of a pair of jade hands, Mr. 4 Feet's neck was abruptly broken. Ah! Mr. Four screamed, his eyes filled with fear and disbelief. He didn't expect that person to be nearby. The vice president also asked them to kill Feng Yi's woman this time. Humph! A piece of trash, I can't do anything, and I still want to betray the organization. Then, under Feng Yi's astonishing gaze, a tall and beautiful figure, Nico Robin, who had been hiding in the dark, appeared in the distance in front of Feng Yi, and finally appeared. No way, she had to show up, otherwise Feng Yi would know about Baroque works. Black hair, big beautiful eyes, long eyelashes, an upright nose full of personality, a huge wavy chest, and two slender legs. She was wearing an ultra-short denim outfit, revealing her beautiful slender legs. Exudes deadly temptation and temptation. Amazing, I really saw Nico Robin's figure, and found that it was even more beautiful than what I saw on TV. Feng Yi couldn't help but get excited, and his breathing became a little short. The Nico Robin in front of him is the Feng Yi pirate. One of my favorite heroines. Who are you? Then Feng Yi asked Robin indifferently, but his eyes were looking at Robin in front of him. There was no way, Robin loves him. Humph! Seeing Feng Yi's fiery eyes, Robin couldn't help but snorted. He didn't expect Feng Yi to be a hungry ghost and a pervert, as rumored. You don't need to know who I am, you know that you have offended someone who shouldn't be offended. Then Robin said indifferently to Feng Yi. Hee, there is no one in the world that I Feng Yi dare not offend. Knowing my strength, Feng Yi dares to say this. It seems that you are either the four emperors or Shichibukai behind you. Feng Yi heard the words but said looking at Robin, hey Isho, she doesn't care about Robin's indifference at all. What happened to Robin made her see human nature very clearly. Robin's beautiful pupils couldn't help Vivi tremble. He didn't expect Feng Yi to be so powerful, and he said it in one sentence, but Robin wouldn't admit it. Flowers and fruits. Then Robin shot at Feng Yi, crossed his hands, and each slender jade hand grew out of Feng Yi. However, when Robin wanted to use those jade hands to attack Feng Yi, he found out that he couldn't move, and the jade hands that bloomed on Feng Yi's body could not shake Feng Yi at all. It's so strong, there's no way to shake his movements. Robin couldn't help but scream in horror. Then Robin changed the attack method. Instead of grabbing Feng Yi with Wawayu hands, he let those Wawayu hands attack Feng Yi directly. Your attack is too weak, it's useless to me. Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle. Boom. Then the Conqueror Haki on Feng Yi's body was released with a bang. It was extremely powerful. Under the release of Feng Yi's Haki, all those flowery hands on Feng Yi's body actually dissipated with a bang. Turned into pieces of flowers, disappeared and fell. How could it be possible? Robin saw that Feng Yi had broken her fruit ability like this. Her pupils could not help widening instantly. She couldn't believe it. It was not the first time she had faced an enemy with Haki, but like Feng Yi just uses Haki like this, so that her fruit ability can't bloom on her body. Feng Yi is the first. Hee, nothing is impossible. Hockey can already resist the fruit ability, let alone my conqueror Hockey. Feng Yi laughed when Robin was surprised when he saw this. Then kick your feet. Boom. Chapter 149-Chase Robin. Feng Yi's figure burst towards Robin in an instant, and he actually met Robin. No matter what, take Robin down and talk about it. Humph. Although Robin was shocked for a moment, but when he saw Feng Yi attacking, he instantly regained his composure, snorted, and once again displayed the ability of Wawa fruit, but this time it was no longer to let it bloom on Feng Yi. Instead, he started talking on the desert ground and blocked Feng Yi's going. By the way, attack. Whoosh whoosh. However, the speed of sealing the leaves is too fast. Of course, Robin's attack and blocking have no effect at all, and the sealing leaves are broken through layer by layer. In an instant, Feng Yi's figure came to Robin's body, Yulu clenched it, and Feng Yi slashed towards Robin. Ah! Seeing Feng Yi's blade swept straight towards her face, Robin couldn't help but exclaimed and jumped away immediately. Feng Yi, kill 1 inch. At this moment, a roar suddenly came from behind Feng Yi, and then a going-s blade force came towards Feng Yi. After Feng Yi, he gave up and continued to pursue Robin, and counterattacked behind him. The enemy is coming. It was Mr. 1. It turned out that the 5 minutes had come, and Mr. 1 Feet's body of anger had almost dissipated, so he attacked Feng Yi. Damn. Regarding Mr. 1 Feet's attack, Feng Yi knew it for a long time, but he couldn't help but scolded. He wanted to catch Robin at this time. There were not so many opportunities, but Mr. 1 ran out to get in the way. It's no wonder that Feng Yi is not angry. Bloodthirsty fangs. Crazy sand photography. Then Feng Yi was fighting with Mr. 1. And Robin stood back and watched Feng Yi suppress and beat Mr. 1. In addition to Feng Yi's attack on her just now, Robin already knew that Feng Yi's strength was super strong. She was not able to deal with it. Neither can Mr. 1. He glanced at Mr. 's fingers, who had been put aside by Feng Yi, and the 4 cash boxes next to him. Robin didn't say much. He used Huahuaguo's ability again, and took the 4 cash boxes all at once. Back in hand. Mr. 1, try to hold him back. When I'm far away, you will see you and run away. After taking all 400 million Baileys in his hands, Robin whispered to Mr. 1 who was fighting against Feng Yi. And then the figure began to run away continuously. Mr. 1 raised his brows when he heard Robin's words, but he didn't say anything. Although he couldn't beat Feng Yi, he held Feng Yi and waited for him to withdraw. Mr. still had absolute confidence. Just complete the mission. Although Mr. 4 and his partner died, they were not 2 or 3 important figures, they died when they died. Sacrifice for the mission is also deserved. Look at the hand knife. Then Mr. 1 shouted at Feng Yi, his hands turned into sharp blades, and he slashed towards Feng Yi again and again, cutting the air with both hands and resounding continuously. Humph. Facing Mr. 1 Feet's attack, Feng Yi couldn't help snorting coldly. His eyes gradually became cold, although Mr. 1 is not very powerful at the moment, but his whole body can become a tenacious blade. He wants to kill the opponent truthfully. If you don't show your true strength, it's hard to do it. I don't have time to waste with you. However, Feng Yi sneered, his figure flashed. He wanted to ignore Mr. 1 and catch up with Robin. If you want to catch up, go through me first. However, as soon as Feng Yi moved, Mr. 1 stood in front of Feng Yi, snorted coldly at Feng Yi, and slashed down at Feng Yi with both hands at the same time. Damn it! You actually want to court death, then I will fulfill you. Facing Mr. 1 Feet's obstruction, Feng Yi couldn't help but scolded, looked at Mr. 1 coldly, and the murderous aura in his eyes burst out. Facing Feng Yi's substantive murderous aura, Mr. 1 Feet's expression finally changed. Want to stop me? Humph. Facing Mr. 1 Feet's obstruction, Feng Yi snorted coldly, and immediately started to attack. Humph. Your knife has no effect on me at all. Although his face was on one side, Mr. 1 still sneered in the face of Feng Yi's cold snort. Confidence in your own fruit ability. You're quite confident. But such people tend to die earlier. Feng Yi saw Mr. 1 feet's strong ability to hold his own fruit. He sneered disdainfully, raised his sword over the top with both hands, and the aura on his body formed a complete suspicion. The yellow sand around Feng Yi's body began to be circled by Feng Yi's momentum. Die! With a sneer, Feng Yi slashed the rain and dew in his hand, and slashed at Mr. 1. Kai! The whole world seems to have disappeared, and only a knife light flashes. In the face of Feng Yi's seemingly incomparably powerful attack, Mr. 1 did not dare to be unprepared. Before, he had opened his chest to chop Feng Yi, but this time he quickly crossed his hands to block Feng Yi's attack. Kai! The sword shadow that made the whole world lose its color flashed out, and Feng Yi's figure appeared behind Mr. in an instant. Mouth is cold, Isho. In the original book, Zoro can cut through steel. How can he cut it continuously? It's just that you have to rely on the blade energy and will of the whole body on the blade edge, which consumes a lot of physical strength. PFF'd. On Mr. 1 feet's arms, 2 bloody arrows burst out, and Mr. 1 feet's eyes were full of disbelief. How is it possible? Mr. 1 murmured, never expecting that the ability to cut fruit, which he relies on for survival, was not able to defend against Feng Yi's attack. His 2 arms, under his words, were thrown out. Ah! Rao is Mr. 1 feet's strong will, the pain of his hands being cut off, but also a scream, and his body collapsed on the desert. The face that was originally cold also looked hideous because of the pain. Here, give me a good time. He fell on the ground and looked at Feng Yi, who turned around. Mr. 1 couldn't help but said to Feng Yi with anger on his face. He lost his hands and he didn't want to live anymore. As you wish. Feng Yi heard the words just indifferently. The rain and dew in his hand slashed out, and it slashed across Mr. 1 feet's neck in an instant. With the briskness of giving up his devil fruit ability, Mr. 1 feet's throat instantly froze. After being chopped off by the sealed leaf, blood sprayed out, and then Mr. 1 foot's eyes widened, and he fell on the desert unwillingly. Whoosh whoosh. After killing Mr. 1, Feng Yi's figure flashed quickly, chasing up to Robin in front of him. As for Mr. S fingers, he'll just have to take care of her when he comes back. It only took half a minute from Robin's escape to the present. Robin's speed was not as fast as Feng Yi's, and Feng Yi caught up in less than 2 minutes. Stop in front of Robin. Dash 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 dash. Chapter 150 _ Robin. You killed Mr. 1 too. Seeing Feng Yi chasing after him, and looking back at Mr. 1, who was lying in a pool of blood, Robin couldn't help but said in horror to Feng Yi, he didn't expect Feng Yi's strength to be so terrifying. He was fighting with each other just now, but in less than half a minute, Mr. 1 was killed. Robin's heart sank instantly, and Feng Yi in front of him was too powerful. I'll give you the money. I don't want it. At this time, Robin didn't care about taking back the 400 million Baileys. He threw the 4 boxes to Feng Yi, and said lightly, hoping that Feng Yi would let her go. Leave. You're Nico Robin, right? Feng Yi ignored the 400 million Bailey thrown over by Robin, but looked at Robin with playful eyes, and said lightly. Sure enough, Robin was shocked when he heard what Feng Yi said, and Vivi shrank his pupils. She didn't expect that Feng Yi actually knew her identity. She had been fleeing for so many years, and the reward list was only a photo of her when she was a child. Basically, no one should be able to recognize her. Panic, her identity was revealed. Robin's mood instantly became panic, and her identity was revealed, which also meant that she had to escape from Alabasta immediately. She had not read the historical documents of the Alabasta Kingdom, and she was very unwilling. That's right, it's me, but I remember that you are no longer a pirate hunter. Who I am is none of your business. Robin calmed down after a while, and responded indifferently to Feng Yi. Hee, I don't care who your identity is, I only know that I have a crush on you. Feng Yi couldn't help but hee-hee isha when he heard the words. He looked at Robin with fiery eyes, and did not hide his possessiveness towards Robin at all. "What?" Robin exclaimed in disbelief when he heard Feng Yi's words, completely never expecting Feng Yi to say such a thing. "The first time I saw her, I confessed to her. As expected, he is a super pervert." "Nicole, Robin, become a member of our Maple Leaf Pirates. How about it?" Feng Yi saw Robin's surprised look, and Vivi Isho couldn't help but then said. Robin couldn't help but look at Feng Yi with a surprised look on his face, speechless. This is the first person she has met who directly wants to recruit her in so many years. Even the sand crocodile was picked only after she proved her ability. But even so, Robin will never be moved. Feng Yi just took a fancy to her beauty. "Your pirate group is too weak, it can't be compared to where I am now." Then Robin said to Feng Yi indifferently, without a clear rejection, but it was equivalent to rejection. "Hey, what if I wiped out the faction you are in now?" Feng Yi couldn't help but hee Isho. His pirate group is not strong enough as Sand Crocodile. So possible. Humph. The forces behind me are fundamental. Robin froze for a moment, then continued, wanting to say that the forces she was in were not something that Feng Yi could be hostile to. "Isn't the strength behind you the Sand Crocodile, one of Shichibukai? I'll kill him in a few days, so you have no reason to reject me." However, Feng Yi didn't wait for Robin to finish speaking. Confidently interrupted Robin's words. "What? How could you possibly know?" Seeing that Feng Yi actually said crocodile, the sand crocodile, Robin couldn't help but look at Feng Yi again in shock. Eyes filled with disbelief. "Humph, there's something I don't know." Seeing Robin's surprised look, Feng Yi couldn't help but chuckle in his heart, and hummed with disdain. Hearing Feng Yi's words, Robin took a while to calm down his surprise, and then said to Feng Yi. "Impossible, you can't be Crocodile's opponent. Even if you can kill Mr. One, you're definitely not his opponent." "Hey, I'm not even afraid of Hawkeye, just a sand crocodile. I just ask you, if I defeat Crocodile, would you like to join our Maple Leaf Pirates?" Feng Yi heard that Hey Isho, and then asked Robin full of hockey. "Hawkeye." Hearing Feng Yi say that the strongest person in Shichibukai is coming, his eyes can't help but tremble again. Hearing Feng Yi's last words, Robin's eyes flashed slightly, he didn't know what he was thinking. "Okay, as long as you can defeat Crocodile, I will join your Maple Leaf Pirates." After a while, he opened his mouth to Feng Yi. "No matter what, promise first, otherwise don't even think about leaving here." "Haha, then you can wait for my good news." Feng Yi immediately laughed Isho when he heard the words, and then turned around and walked to the place where the battle was. Mr. S fingers were still unconscious there. "The 400 million Bailey, please take it back and keep it for me first." Then Feng Yi said to Robin again, "Mr. S fingers are still in a coma, he doesn't have so many hands to hold it." Looking at Feng Yi's back, Robin didn't know what to think for a while. He had never seen someone like Feng Yi before, and 400 million Bailey was handed over to a person who just met him. "I am not afraid that she will be monopolized, and I am not afraid that she will not join the pirate group." For a while, Robin couldn't help but be full of curiosity about Feng Yi, and the most important thing was to be curious about Feng Yi's strength. I wonder if Feng Yi could defeat Crocodile. Humph. With a light snort, Robin picked up the 400 million Baileys on the ground, and then turned to leave, fearing that Feng Yi regretted intercepting her again. Feng Yi doesn't care about Robin's departure. It is difficult to conquer Robin. Feng Yi can only confess to him in the most direct way, and then show his strong strength to make Robin willing to join his pirate group first. If you want to conquer Robin, it is absolutely impossible to rely on a few relationships. It is only possible to get along with each other for a period of time. After all, Robin has already experienced the warmth and coldness of the world, and it is difficult for her to open her heart. I didn't pay attention to Robin anymore. There was a woman waiting for him to conquer first, Mr. Fingers. Although not as beautiful as Robin, she was still a beautiful woman, especially the water snake waist like a thin willow, which made Feng Yi very uncomfortable. I want to hold her in my arms. Up Mr. S fingers, Feng Yi went back to the rain and found a luxurious hotel to stay in. Under the strange look in the waiter's eyes, Feng Yi walked into his room with Mr. S fingers in his arms, and then closed the door. Boom. The moment the door was closed, Feng Yi clearly sensed the emotional fluctuations in Mr. S fingers, which also proved that she had woken up. Damn, where is this? Damn it, let me go. Mr. S fingers, who were held by Zhao Kongming, then shouted angrily at Feng Yi. At the same time, he displayed the ability of the Fruit of Thorns, and thorns grew out of his delicate body. Hey, Feng Yi sneered and threw Mr. S fingers on the bed. Chapter 141-died. Where's Mr. 1, and Mr. 4? You killed them all. After seeing that this was a hotel room, Mr. immediately sat up with his fingers, then looked at Feng Yi vigilantly and asked. She didn't even know what happened, only that she was knocked unconscious by Feng Yi and came here after waking up. Dead. Faced with the beauty's questioning, of course Feng Yi didn't hide it, Vivi Isho said. What? You killed them all. Although he was already prepared in his heart, but when he heard Feng Yi tell the news of the death of the two, Mr. S fingers were still in shock, and he looked at Feng Yi in astonishment. Eyes full of shock. She knows the strength of Mr. 1. Why didn't you kill me too? Then Mr. asked Feng Yi coldly with his fingers. What do you think? Didn't you say I was a big pervert? Then why would I kill a beautiful woman without enjoying it? Feng Yi heard a playful smile on his face, facing Mr. Fingers crossed. You, what do you want to do? Hearing Feng Yi's words, Mr. immediately put a shy look on his face with his fingers, and said angrily to Feng Yi. Hey, what do you think? A big pervert grabbed a beautiful woman, what do you want me to do? Feng Yi heard Isho immediately after hearing this. Feng Yi didn't know Mr. the Overlord is hard on the bow, forcibly occupying it. Just like the original Yu Xin. As he spoke, Feng Yi walked towards Mr. with his fingers, his eyes greedily looking at her with a panicked face. He didn't expect that after he was no longer so cold, he looked even more beautiful. Humph, I won't let you succeed. Mr. S fingers only panicked for a while, then calmed down after a while, snorted at Feng Yejiao, didn't ask Feng Yi for mercy, and attacked Feng Yi directly. Thorns trample. Warhammer of Thorns. In an instant, Mr. S 2 fingers attacked Feng Yi's ability to cast the Fruit of Thorns again and again. HMPH. It seems that you won't be obedient until you are knocked unconscious. Feng Yi couldn't help laughing and snorted, pulling out the rein and fighting with Mr. S fingers. Humph. The ghost will obey obediently. Hearing Feng Yi's words, Mr. immediately said angrily with his fingers. The attack is more ferocious. However, within 2 minutes, Feng Yi's figure appeared behind her again, striking her with a knife, knocking her unconscious again. The moment of coma, the thorns on Mr. S fingers disappeared, and Feng Yi held her in his arms again. It's not good to be in a coma. Seeing Mr. S fingers pass out in a coma, Feng Yi couldn't help but murmured. Hey, there is. However, then Feng Yi was the evil and charming Hihi Isho, holding Mr. S fingers, she walked into the bathroom, and quickly filled the bathtub with water. As long as she put Mr. S fingers in the water, she would not be able to. The ability of the Fruit of Thorns has been displayed. Ah, damn big pervert, let me go. The moment he was thrown into the bathtub, Mr. S fingers also woke up again. Feng Yeke ignored the shouting of Mr. S fingers, pressed her shoulders with both hands, and pressed her body into the bathtub. The bathtub was big enough to fit 2 or 3 people. General hotels will consider this aspect of male and female bathing. Ball of Thorns. Seeing that Feng Yi was ignoring her coquettish scolding, Mr. S fingers subconsciously wanted to use the ability of the thorn fruit to force Feng Yi back. Since the thorn fruit, no one has been able to take advantage of her. When you move at any time, thorns and thorns can grow on her body, and others can't touch her delicate body with bare hands. Hey hey. Seeing this, Feng Yi couldn't help but hey Isho. The whole body was running in the bathtub, even his emotional fruit ability disappeared, not to mention the thorn fruit ability of Mr. S fingers. Unexpectedly, the situation that Feng Yi was forced to retreat by her did not occur, and Mr. S fingers reacted. The thorn fruit on her body actually failed. Ah! Water! Then Mr. S fingers widened his eyes and screamed, knowing why he couldn't use his fruit ability. Feeling that Feng Yi couldn't resist the strength that Feng Yi held her down, Mr. S fingers couldn't help but panic for a while. The fruit ability can't be displayed, and the vigor is not sealed by Yi Chang. Is she destined to be forcibly possessed today? Tell me, what's your name? Feng Yi looked at the surprised Mr. S fingers, and couldn't help being charming Isho, then asked Mr. S fingers. Mr. S fingers are really ugly, and they are just code names. Now that he has decided to forcefully take Mr. S fingers, of course Feng Yi needs to know her name. Humph, I won't tell you. Mr. snorted coldly when he heard the words with his fingers. The delicate body is struggling at the same time. Even if she knows she can't struggle, she has to struggle, otherwise, wouldn't it be obedient to let the other party violate it? Hey, are you sure you won't tell me? Feng Yi couldn't help but hee Isho. In Mr. S frightened eyes, Feng Yi's right hand grabbed the corner of her clothes. Don't. Seeing Feng Yi's action, Mr. immediately exclaimed with his fingers. Hiss. Whoa. However, how could Feng Yi care about the shouting of Mr. S fingers? With a force on his right hand, the sound of clothes being shredded and rippling water resounded at the same time. The clothes on Mr. S fingers were torn to shreds by Feng Yi in an instant. A large piece of snow-white giant skin appeared in Feng Yi's eyes. And black lace bras. Make Mr. S fingers look more dominant and charming. Hey, not bad, I can't tell you actually have a D cup. Looking at Mr. Jade Girl peek with her fingers proud, Feng Yi couldn't help but hey Isho, that bra was about to burst at any time, and Feng Yi's blood boiled for a while. Damn. Quickly let go of my mother. The clothes on his body were torn apart and his body was exposed in front of Feng Yi's eyes. Mr. S fingers were also embarrassed and angry, his eyes glared at Feng Yejiao and cursed. However, at this time, Mr. S tender and angry eyes with his fingers can only add a different kind of charm to her. Ha, if you want me to let you go, tell me your name first. Feng Yi heard this and couldn't help but ha Isho, but his right hand grabbed the black lace-edged bra, meaning Mr. didn't say anything with his fingers. If so, he will tear up the last line of defense on her upper body. Zala. I said it. Hurry up and let go of my mother. Facing Feng Yi's shamelessness, Mr. only replied with 2 fingers, and then glared at Feng Yi, telling Feng Yi to let her go quickly. Zala. Nice name, but it's impossible to let go of you. Feng Yi couldn't help but hey Isho when he heard the words, and then in Zala's shouting, his right hand exerted force again, and the last line of defense on Zala's upper body was torn apart by Zhao Kongming. A pair of arrogant jade girl peaks are completely exposed in Feng Yi's eyes. Ah! Chapter 152 Zala _. After Zala screamed, her delicate body struggled vigorously. Pretty face flushed red, glaring at Feng Yi. The water in the bathtub suddenly made a loud noise, and the water inside kept overflowing to the ground. Hiss. The more Zala struggled, the more excited Feng Yi became. Except for Yu Xin, who was half-assisted, the other women were voluntary. Feng Yi didn't have a real beautician. Feng Yi felt a lot of excitement after a strong attack. In just a few moments, Zala's trousers and black inner were all torn apart by Feng Yi, and Zala was immediately naked in front of Feng Yi. At this time, she is ruthless and beautiful, with a shy and indignant beauty, a D-cup proud and tall jade girl, a flat belly, and the most terrible thing is Zala's slender waist like a willow, with slender legs below, all of which are let Feng Yi feel that his blood is boiling. While pressing Zala, Feng Yi quickly took off his clothes, and 2 naked bodies appeared in the bathtub. Let me go. You will regret it if you dare to go to the old lady. Zala struggled again and again, scolding and threatening Feng Yi again and again. Regret. Seeing a beautiful woman under him, I regret it if I don't. Feng Yi heard this and couldn't help but hee isho. He lowered his head and kissed Zala's delicate lips. Ooh, Zala couldn't dodge in time. Her delicate lips were occupied by Feng Yi, and the babble resounded again and again. While kissing Zala forcibly, Feng Yi's hands were not idle, and he began to swim on Zala's delicate body. Ah! Pain! Less than a moment later, Zala's first painful scream resounded in the bathroom. When she saw the water in her premonition floating red, Feng Yi was even more excited. 5 minutes later, Zala's screams were gradually replaced by cheerful groans, and they became more and more excited, resounding continuously in the bathroom. On Zala's delicate body, Feng Yi bombed for a full hour, and after Zala passed out, Feng Yi shot all the shots in the depths of Zala's delicate body. When Feng Yi carried Zala back to the bed, she woke up, and what greeted her was another strong conquest by Feng Yi. Zala also completely gave up the resistance. She did not have the ability to use the fruit of thorns, but took the initiative. The twisting of the waist caters to Feng Yi. You bloody bastard. Actually really force the old lady. Yun Yu came over. Zala was lying on the bed weakly, with her head buried in Feng Yi's arms. Zala felt that every cell in her body was cheering. It was refreshing, and she didn't even have the strength to move a finger. However, Zala still scolded Feng Yi. Hey, Zala, from now on you will be my Feng Yi's woman, and a member of the Maple Leaf Pirates. Feng Yi didn't care about Zala's scolding. He had already done all the things he forcibly took, and he was still afraid the other party cursed, and Feng Yi also knew that after he really entered Zala's body, Zala no longer had the hatred to kill him. Instead, he accepted this fact. Of course, this is inseparable from Feng Yi's emotional fruits. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to make Zala surrender to him because of his body being possessed. I know you can bartend, and you will be the bartender on the ship in the future. How is it? Before Zala could answer, Feng Yi continued. While talking, Feng Yi's hands hugged Zala from behind, and his hands climbed Zala's pair of proud and tall jade girls again. Zala couldn't help but tremble under Feng Yi's movements. At first, she wanted to scold her and refuse, but when she sensed that the dragon on top of Feng Yi's buttocks was getting hot again, she didn't dare to refuse. I have no strength all over my body, and it is even more sore there, and I have to bear the immortality of Feng Yi's expedition again. What you say is what? The end. Zala could only blushed and said helplessly. Hey, is this right? Feng Yi heard that hey isho. But what about our boss? Baroque Works absolutely does not allow anyone to quit. The boss will definitely send someone to kill me. Then Zala worried about Feng Yi, and joining the Maple Leaf Pirates is equivalent to leaving with Baroque Works. Anyone who wants to leave Baroque Works will be killed. The organization does not allow any information to be disclosed. Humph. Isn't it just a little sand crocodile? I'll kill him in a few days and make him a dead fish. Feng Yi snorted disdainfully when he heard the words, whether it was to completely subdue Zala, or to subdue Robin, Crocodile, and Feng Yi must kill him. Hearing Feng Yi's confident rhetoric, Zala's beautiful eyes flashed. She thought that Feng Yi wanted to kill Crocodile for her sake. Wait. What did you say? The president of our Baroque Works Club is actually Crocodile, one of the Shichibukai. But then, Zala's eyes widened. Looking back at Feng Yedao in disbelief, she haven't responded yet. Of course, who else is there except that dead crocodile? Feng Yi heard Vivi Isho, and then remembered that apart from Robin, the rest of the Baroque Works Club didn't even know that the president of the Baroque Works Club was one of Shichibukai's sand crocodile. Zala heard Feng Yi's confirmation. Although she didn't know how Feng Yi found out, she still believed Feng Yi's words. She was shocked and speechless for a long time. She never thought that the one she betrayed was Sand Crocodile, one of Shichibukai. Feng Yi in front of him is nothing more than a pirate offering a reward of more than 100 million baileys, and he dares to say that he will kill him. Can you really kill Crocodile, one of Shichibukai? In the end, Zala couldn't help but whispered to Feng Yi in surprise. Of course. If Feng Yi didn't even have this confidence, how dare he come to Alabasta? Okay, as long as you can kill Crocodile, one of Shichibukai, I will be your woman in the future. Hearing Feng Yi's confident words, Zala couldn't do it anymore. Her body was taken over by Feng Yi, so she could only face Feng Yi. A firm way. It seems that he is really making excuses for himself to follow Feng Yi. Hey, don't worry, just wait for my good news. Feng Yi couldn't help but smile upon hearing this. Zala heard the words and said nothing. Under Feng Yi's sweet words, her physical strength had already been overdrawn because of Feng Yi's madness, and she immediately fell into a deep sleep sweetly. The next day, Feng Yi left the hotel, while Zala was left in the hotel by Feng Yi. Her mobility was inconvenient, so Feng Yi asked her to wait for him in the hotel, and he would definitely come back to pick her up in a week at the latest. Have you heard? Our drought is saved. Well, I heard that it was a goddess sent by the heavens. It has already rained in several towns because of her arrival. Well, I heard that His Majesty the King is going to meet them now and ask them to reign for our whole country. It's all the kindness of the king that welcomes such a goddess when we are in drought. Chapter 153_word spread. When Feng Yi went outside, the people on the street were already discussing about Nami and the others reigning everywhere. Hee, I didn't expect the news to spread in just 2 days. As expected of the king, I immediately seized the opportunity to invite Nami and the others. I just don't know what the dead crocodile's expression will be when he gets the news. Hee, the king is deeply loved by the people, but he planned for a long time to think of this way to divide the people's support for the king. Feng Yi heard the voice of the people's conversation, not by Vivi Isho. It looks like it's time to go to the royal city, otherwise Nami and the others will be in danger. Then the smile on Feng Yi's face disappeared. Although he knew that Nami could absolutely restrain and defeat Crocodile, he was still worried. After all, Baroque works, there are still a lot of experts out there. Boom. At this time, in a luxurious secret room, after Crocodile learned that Nami used the ability of rain to make money, he slammed the table angrily. Damn. Who is it that dares to sabotage my plan? Crocodile was very angry. He only lost 4 capable subordinates yesterday, and he got such news today. It's no wonder he wasn't angry. But Crocodile quickly controlled his emotions. He raised his head and asked Robin, who was wearing a strong suit. Who is the person who gets the rain? Where did it come from? Crocodile asked Robin lightly. He knew that Robin had already adjusted the relevant information before telling him the news. President, the Rainmaker is also a crew member of the Maple Leaf Pirates. A bounty of 4,000 W. Bailey's navigator, Nami. At the entrance of Alabasta Palace, Feng Yi's figure appeared. Stop, who are you? Seeing that Feng Yi was about to enter the palace, the guards at the gate immediately stopped Feng Yi. All of them looked at Feng Yi vigilantly. After all, by looking at Feng Yi, they knew that he was not an ordinary person, with dazzling rain dew on his body. I'm the captain of the Maple Leaf Pirates. Looking at the guard in front of him, Feng Yi just said lightly. Ah. The big pirate seals the leaves. Hearing Feng Yi's words, the guards at the door were all startled, and their eyes turned into awe when they looked at Feng Yi. There's nothing they can do. The pirates who have offered a reward of over 100 million bell are too much for them. Stronger. You are a pirate. What are you doing in our palace? Don't you want to be detrimental to our king? A guard shouted at Feng Yi immediately after being shocked, holding the spear in his hands with trembling hands. Hey, don't you know it's your king who wants to invite us to the Maple Leaf Pirates? Feng Yi couldn't help sneering when he heard this. It seems that the news hasn't spread completely yet. I was invited, but I didn't know they were all members of the Maple Leaf Pirates. What? How is it possible? How could our king invite a pirate group? The guard immediately disbelieved after hearing this. Humph. The rain goddess in your mouth, Nami, who offers a reward of 4,000 W. Bailey, is a member of the Maple Leaf Pirates. Don't talk nonsense. My crew should already be in your palace. Hurry up and make way for me, or your country will never get rain. Feng Yi couldn't help but snorted again when he heard this. He didn't want to say anything to some guards, so he said coldly. Ah! How is this possible? Hearing Feng Yi's words, the guards at the gate of the palace opened their mouths in shock again, and couldn't believe what they had heard. The goddess who had appeared in several towns in the past 2 days was actually a pirate. Captain Feng Yi, please come in. But a clearly clever guard immediately respectfully said to Feng Yi, whether they believe it or not, as long as they dare to stop Feng Yi, he believes that they will immediately be killed. Cold sweat has spread all over his body. When Feng Yi finished saying these words just now, his murderous aura unwittingly exuded, and it is not something that the guards like them can bear. The other guards were also behind in the words of the guard, so they all got out of the way and got out of the way. When Feng Yi saw this, he restrained his momentum, and then walked in slowly. He had already sensed the mood swings of Nami and the others, and he knew where they were, so he went straight up. After Feng Yi entered, a guard quickly took out the phone bug, really confirmed that the Goddess of Rain was really a crew member of the Maple Leaf Pirates, and at the same time reported the news that the Captain Feng Yi had entered the palace. Up! Ha ha! The king actually invited us to reign, this time we must earn a fortune. In a luxurious room, Nami giggled to Kuina and the others. How much do you think we should pay? 100 million Baileys. The king of a country should not only have so little money, but at least 1 billion. Nami then said excitedly, her eyes shining with Bailey's light. Kuina and the others couldn't help but be speechless when they saw Nami's appearance. They knew that Nami would look like this. Nami's character was like this. 1 billion, isn't it too much? But Kuina still smacked her tongue slightly. I think it's too little. Nami laughed back when she heard the words. I don't know where that guy, Master, went to. If he was here, he would definitely agree with what I said. Then Nami said again, and when it came to Feng Yi, the brilliance in Bailey's eyes changed to miss. Come on. Although it's only been 2 or 3 days, Nami has already discovered that she misses Feng Yi very much, not only Nami, but Kuina, Kaya, Yushin and the others. Especially these days there is no news of Feng Yi at all. Hee hee, it seems that Nami, you know me the master best. When Nami's words fell, Feng Yi's light laughter rang out at the door, and then I saw a figure walking in from the door. Who else could it be if it wasn't Feng Yi? Ah! Feng Yi! Master! Seeing Feng Yi's appearance, Kuina and the others immediately cheered, and Nami jumped into Feng Yi's arms after she cheered. Is Nami very powerful? She actually won the reputation of the goddess, and she is also the god of rain. Feng Yi hugged Nami gently and couldn't help laughing. Hee hee, I don't care about any goddess, as long as I can make money. Master, you know, in just 3 days, we have walked through 4 towns and earned a full 100 million Baileys. Chapter 154-400 million won. Nami immediately raised her head and smiled at Feng Yi when she heard the words. Her face was full of smugness. Hee hee, Nami is really amazing. Feng Yi stroked Nami's hair and laughed. He couldn't help laughing. If Nami knew that she had made 400 million in an hour, I don't know what her expression would be. Hearing Feng Yi's praise, of course Nami was very excited. Then the girls hurriedly asked Feng Yi where he died these days and why. Feng Yi didn't hide his intentions from the girls. He said that he went to make a big bet and was chased and killed. He said everything. Anyway, there are so many beautiful women on board, and he will definitely bring Zala's when he goes back this time. Sooner or later it will be said. Ah! Master, you actually 400 million won Bailey. And gave it to an unknown woman to take away for safekeeping. After listening to Feng Yi's remarks, the girls couldn't help but be surprised again, especially Nami, who looked at Feng Yi with an indignant expression, and actually took 400 million Baileys away to the enemy. What if people don't pay you back? That's 400 million Baileys. Hey, don't worry, she won't be an enemy in a few days. Feng Yi could only laugh Vivi. Yes, Master, I know that you have a crush on someone's beauty. I support you, and you must take her on board. Nami immediately turned her eyes towards Feng Yi after hearing the words. Looking at the look of 400 million Baileys shining in his eyes, he knew that it was entirely for the 400 million Baileys not to be run away. Hee. Of course, the master will definitely get her started. Feng Yi couldn't help Isho hearing this. Kuina and the others couldn't help but be speechless for a while. How could Feng Yi be so proud of such shameless things like doing women? Hee. Master, I support you. Only Nami's eyes shone with Bailey's light, and Robin was equal to 400 million Baileys in her eyes. Hello. And just as Nami's voice fell, a timid voice sounded at the door. Feng Yi knew that someone was there, and at the moment when the other party's voice sounded, he turned to look at the other party, and he was in front of him immediately. I saw a pure girl with blue hair, appearing in the direction of the door, with a melon face, star-like eyes, fine white and pink skin, a small Chong nose, lovely red lips, and a light blue long voice. The skirt is extremely beautiful, noble and elegant, like a princess. No, that is the princess of Alabasta, the Princess Vivi, although not as mature as 2 years later, but it has a green tenderness, which makes the corners of Feng Yi's mouth curl up with Vivi. Not bad, even more beautiful than in the original book. And she's a princess. And behind Princess Vivi, the old man with blonde curly hair followed. Feng Yi also forgot his name. Princess Vivi's retainer, the old man who sneaked into Baroque works with Princess Vivi in the original book. Are you from the Maple Leaf Pirates? Is the rain god really one of you? Seeing Feng Yi, they all looked at her and said nothing. Princess Vivi's pretty face blushed, and then she asked. I am also very curious. If I want to see the legendary Maple Leaf Pirates, the most important thing is to see Nami who can help Alabasta. We are from the Maple Leaf Pirates. Who are you? Nami heard that she was looking for her, and hurriedly smiled at Princess Vivi. At a glance, she could see that the identity of the girl in front of her was not simple. Oh, let me introduce myself first. I'm the princess of this country, you can just call me Vivi. Hearing Nami's words, Princess Vivi remembered that she hadn't introduced herself yet, and hurriedly introduced herself with a blushing face. So cute. Hee, it turns out that you are a princess, and I am the rain god you call me. Nami's eyes lit up when she heard the words, and she immediately said with a smile. Are you the rain god? Princess Vivi's eyes also lit up when she heard Nami's words, and she looked at Nami with brilliance. She didn't expect that such a powerful person was actually a girl of her age. This is my master and Feng Yi, the captain of our Maple Leaf Pirates. Nami nodded and smiled, then glanced at Feng Yi and smiled at Nami. She hadn't forgotten that Feng Yi was beside her. Hearing Nami's words, Princess Vivi also hurriedly looked at Feng Yi. Nami is so powerful, and the captain must be even more powerful. After seeing Feng Yi's appearance, Princess Vivi's pretty face couldn't help but turn red again. I didn't expect Feng Yi to be so young and handsome. Hey, hello, Princess Vivi. It's an honor to meet such a beautiful princess. Feng Yi was playing Princess Vivi Isho. The more I feel that Princess Vivi is pretty, especially the princess's unique temperament, which deeply attracts Feng Yi. Hello. Hearing Feng Yi's words, Princess Vivi's pretty face couldn't help but turn red again, but there was a hint of sweetness in her heart. To be praised for being beautiful, any girl would be happy, and he was also a handsome guy. Under Feng Yi's introduction, Princess Vivi quickly got along with Nami and the others, and they talked about everything, but Feng Yi wanted to find a chance to chat with Princess Vivi and have a relationship. I had to talk to the old man and ask about the current situation of Alabasta. The old man didn't dare not say it. He knew that the whole Alabasta was suffering from severe drought, and he had to rely on Feng Yi and the others to save him. He was told about the seriousness of the drought in Alabasta right now, and he said it like a tearjerker. He only described the seriousness of the drought. To gain Feng Yi's sympathy so that I can see if I can ask Nami for help at the least price. How could Feng Yi not know what the old man was thinking about? He heard how serious the disaster was in his ears, but he didn't care about it at all, and there was no expression of grief and sympathy. Seeing this, the old man couldn't help but feel extremely depressed. He didn't expect such a hard-hearted person. It seems that he is really a pirate. A quarter of an hour later, a soldier came to report that the king was going to summon Feng Yi and the others. Princess Vivi immediately shouted for her to lead Feng Yi and the others to meet her father. Under the leadership of Princess Vivi, Feng Yi and others soon came to the palace. The king was sitting on the throne, and there were important ministers beside him, but Feng Yi and the others came in and did not greet them. Nonsense, Feng Yi, they are not from this country, and they are still pirates. It doesn't matter if you are king or not. Feng Yi also looked at the king, and found that he was much more majestic than in the original book. His whole body revealed a majestic atmosphere of a superior. Ordinary people would definitely feel a pressure when they saw it for the first time, but Feng Yi and others were all awakened to different tyrants. Facing the king's momentum, of course, there is no reaction at all. Are you the king? Looking at the king, as the captain of the Maple Leaf Pirates, Feng Yi couldn't help but smile at the king. Yeah. Vivi couldn't help but flicker in his eyes. He immediately discovered the unusualness of this Maple Leaf Pirates, especially in the face of Feng Yi. Suppressed, Vivi was shocked in my heart. Okay, I won't say more nonsense. You summoned us to ask us to help your country reign in various places, right? Feng Yi looked at the country. Akoku took the gate of opening to see Shandao. Chapter 155 As long as the princess. Yes, that's right. Our country desperately needs your help. As soon as Feng Yi said about the drought, the king immediately said, he couldn't keep calm anymore, it was too urgent for him to solve the drought. 2 billion Baileys. Let's help. Hearing the king's words, Feng Yi didn't talk nonsense, and said directly, 2 billion Baileys. Ah. Hearing that Feng Yi said directly that he wanted 2 billion Baileys, the king and the important officials here were all shocked and exclaimed. I didn't expect Feng Yi to speak so loudly. If 2 billion Baileys were put in, it was easy for them to take it out half a year ago, but after half a year of drought, they no longer have the financial resources. Hearing Feng Yi's words, the important officials immediately showed anger, and Feng Yi felt the anger immediately. But Feng Yi doesn't care about them. Feng Yi doesn't care about the reaction of those important ministers. Because of his words, the important officials are angry, and the change of emotions can also make his emotional fruit ability warm. The king also looked at Feng Yi with an embarrassed expression when he heard the words above. He didn't expect a lion to open his mouth. At this time, how could he get 2 billion Baileys? Even 500 million Baileys would be difficult. And the country has no money after using it. This is why he summoned Nami and the others, because other towns had no money to ask Nami to reign, so he wanted to see if he could ask the other party for help, but Feng Yi still asked for money. Captain Feng Yi, it's not that I don't want to promise you, it's just that our country can't make up 2 billion Baileys if it sees the law. See if you can help our country through this drought crisis, the rest of Bailey. Then the king opened his mouth to Feng Yi in embarrassment. He wanted to say what he was owed, but he couldn't go on in the middle of the sentence. He felt that it would be a shame for the country's face and dignity. Actually used in arrears. No, we are pirates, not philanthropists, and we don't accept credit arrears. If we don't have 2 billion Baileys, we will leave Alabasta tomorrow. Because there is nothing our pirate team wants here. Seeing the king's voice, although he didn't finish speaking, Feng Yi also knew what the king wanted to say, and categorically refused. Ah! Captain Feng Yi, our country really can't get so many Baileys. I beg you, save our country. Vivi, who was beside Feng Yi and the others, was also stunned after hearing Feng Yi say that it would cost 2 billion yuan. Only this time did he react. Hearing Feng Yi's words, he quickly ran to Feng Yi with a pleading expression on his face. Looking at Feng Yi, Chu is pitiful. Vivi. Hearing that Princess Vivi came out to beg Feng Yi, the king couldn't help but murmured, and after struggling for a while, he also said to Feng Yi. Captain Feng Yi, I beg you too, please save our country. It takes a lot of courage for a king to ask for help from a pirate captain. It can be seen that the king really loves his people like a son. For the people of the country, he can give up any dignity. But despite this, the king's mood was also tangled for a while, lamented, he never thought that he would have the day to help pirates. They heard the words of Princess Vivi and the king. The ministers were angry at first, and they were angry at Feng Yi. If it weren't for Feng Yi, Princess Vivi and the king would not need to ask Feng Yi for help, but then they felt that they were all looking at the king, still full of admiration and love. Yes, Captain Feng Yi, just save our country. Captain Feng Yi. Captain Feng Yi. Then the other ministers in the palace couldn't help asking Feng Yi for help one after another. Hearing everyone's request, Nami and the others didn't know what to do for a while, but they were also moved. Nami was also moved. She couldn't help thinking of her own life experience, and she couldn't help but agree to their request. Humph. But before Nami made a sound, she was interrupted by Feng Yi's humming. Everyone couldn't help but look at Feng Yi. It's not impossible for us to shoot for free, but I have one condition. Then Feng Yi smiled faintly. What conditions? The king asked quickly. Hey, it's nothing, as long as Princess Vivi joins our Maple Leaf Pirates, that is to help the crew on my own ship, of course there is no need to charge. Hearing the king's words, everyone turned to look at him, but Feng Yi looked at Princess Vivi in front of him and said softly. Ah. What? Quote. Vivi, who was looking at Feng Yi expectantly, was the first to be shocked, and everyone else exclaimed in shock, never expecting Feng Yi to make such a request. No, how can Princess Vivi join the pirate group? Yeah, absolutely not. I can't. But then, those ministers objected and said, what a joke, they all know what the Maple Leaf Pirates are like. Princess Vivi joins the pirates, which is equivalent to adding Princess Vivi to the pirates. I gave it to Feng Yi to be a woman. Princess Vivi is the princess of their country. After all the ministers objected, they looked at Feng Yi angrily. Even the king was like this. He didn't expect Feng Yi to ask for his daughter. No, I will never agree to hand Vivi to you. Then the king said with a serious face, to sacrifice her daughter to save the whole country from the drought, he can't do it. Princess Vivi also stared blankly at Feng Yi in front of her, her pretty face blushing. Of course, she also knew what the relationship between the crew of the Maple Leaf Pirates and Captain Feng Yi was. Even if she didn't know it, Princess Vivi's face was blushing as she looked at Feng Yi, who was looking at her with hot eyes. However, the reason for the pretty face's reddening is not just shame, but more anger. I didn't expect Feng Yi to be so shameless and want to use her as a condition to save the entire Alabasta drought. When she heard everyone's disapproval, Princess Vivi was moved and her mood became complicated. If she could save the whole country, she would be willing to sacrifice her alone. More importantly, after listening to Nami and the others' sailing journey, Vivi the princess is also very envious of them, and there is also an urge to become a pirate in her heart. Hey, you don't agree, so forget it. Feng Yi didn't get angry when he heard what the ministers and the king said, but chuckled. Chapter 156 Vivi promises _ Nami, Kuina, let's go. They don't want us to help, and we're too embarrassed to stay here. The drought in Alabasta is none of our business, and even if everyone dies, we won't see it. Feng Yi turned to face Nami and Vivi Isho, then turned and left. Nami and the others couldn't help looking at Feng Yi in surprise. This was not Feng Yi's style, but they didn't hesitate. Feng Yi spoke up. Of course they responded immediately, and then followed Feng Yi. Wait. Seeing that Feng Yi and others were about to leave, Princess Vivi hurriedly called to stop. There was a determined expression on his face. I promise you, I will join your pirate group. After seeing Feng Yi look back, Princess Vivi immediately turned to Feng Yi with a blushing face and said, for the sake of the entire Alabasta, she had to sacrifice herself. No. Your Highness the Princess. Hearing Princess Vivi's words, the ministers and the king couldn't help but change their expressions and exclaimed. Oh, you joined our pirate group voluntarily. Feng Yi ignored the reaction of the king and the ministers, smiled and said to Princess Vivi, he knew that the kind-hearted Princess Vivi would compromise, especially when he heard Feng Yi said that the people of their country are dead. Yes, I am voluntary. As long as the drought in our country is relieved, I will join you voluntarily. Princess Vivi looked at Feng Yi seriously and said. Ha ha, good. Feng Yi heard the words immediately ha ha isho. As for the king and ministers, they looked at Feng Yi angrily, but since Princess Vivi herself agreed, they can't say anything else, and other than that, they can't make up 2 billion Bailey, so it can only be like this. In this case, from now on, Princess Vivi, you are a member of our Maple Leaf Pirates. Then Feng Yi smiled at Princess Vivi. Princess Vivi could only nod her head in response, but her smile was somewhat reluctant. Hee. For the sake of Princess Vivi joining our pirate group, I will tell you why your country is in drought. Wen Yan sealed Vivi Isho, and then spoke to the king and other ministers. Hearing Feng Yi's words, the people inside were all startled, not knowing why, only the king's pupils Vivi trembled. Feng Yi's words touched something. Is it? The king opened his mouth in surprise, but he realized that there was no evidence. He was just guessing, so he didn't go on. However, the ministers, Princess Vivi and Nami were still looking at Feng Yi and the king curiously. Could it be that Alabasta drought or man-made failure? That's right, you should already be suspicious from your appearance. The reason why your country has caused such a severe drought is because of an organization. Feng Yi said, looking at the king. Vivi Isho said, he didn't expect the king at this time already noticed something. That's right, otherwise he wouldn't let his daughter and minister sneak into Baroque Works a year later. But he didn't know that the president of Baroque Works would be the hero of this country, Crocodile. What organization? How is it possible? It's man-made. What kind of organization is it? What evidence do you have? Hearing Feng Yi's words, the ministers couldn't help but make an uproar, and they asked Feng Yi anxiously, eager to know who was against them. You should have heard of this organization, Baroque Works. Feng Yi heard that Vivi couldn't help laughing. Hearing Feng Yi's words, the ministers were really surprised, and the expressions on their faces showed that they knew that Alabasta had such an organization. As for the leader of this organization, I don't think you know. Feng Yi then chuckled again. Do you know who their leader is? Hearing Feng Yi's words, the king hurriedly asked Feng Yi. His eyes were slightly angry. It was his anger at Baroque Works, but he didn't expect that someone would deliberately create a drought. Hee. Of course I know. Otherwise, why would I say it? Feng Yi smiled disdainfully. Who is it? Why did he do this, and what does it benefit him to keep the people of the whole country in drought? The king continued to ask anxiously after hearing this. Crocodile. Feng Yi didn't say more after hearing the words, and directly said 90 Crocodile, the president of Baroque Works. Ah. How is it possible? Impossible, Crocodile is the hero of our country. Hearing the name from Feng Yi's mouth, the king and the ministers all exclaimed in surprise, their eyes filled with disbelief. They just didn't believe it. How could Crocodile do such a thing? They were shocked at first, and then they didn't believe it. All of them looked at Feng Yi angrily, wanting Feng Yi to show evidence. Crocodile is a hero of the country, and Feng Yi cannot be slandered. Impossible, Crocodile is the hero of our country. How could he do such a thing? Princess Vivi also said angrily to Feng Yi. Humph, I know you won't believe it, and I'm too lazy to explain. Anyway, we ruined their plan. They will show up soon. Follow us. When your crocodile comes to kill us to vent your hatred, you all know if it's true. Feng Yi snorted disdainfully after hearing this, and then said to Princess Vivi. You are now a member of our Maple Leaf Pirates. Come along, I will let Nami reign everywhere. Follow us, and you will know if it is true. He said again. Feng Yi just turned around and left, ignoring the king and the others. The purpose of coming to Alabasta is only for Princess Vivi and Robin, and King Feng Yi doesn't care about him. Nami and the others hurriedly followed. Princess Vivi hesitated for a moment before Vivi followed. No matter if what Feng Yi said was true or not, it was true that Nami had the ability to reign. Just based on this enough, not to mention she also agreed to join the Maple Leaf Pirates. The king watched Feng Yi and the others leave, and Princess Vivi followed. He didn't know how to deal with it for a while. Seeing Feng Yi's appearance, there was no need to deceive them. Could it be that Crocodile did it? The other party is one of Shichibukai, so it's not very dangerous for Princess Vivi to follow. Then the king immediately gave an order to the Birdman commander of the bird fruit, and asked him to follow Feng Yi and the others, and if there was an enemy, help the enemy. Master, where are we going to start the rain? Is the enemy really Crocodile, one of Shichibukai? After coming out, Nami asked Feng Yi. After knowing that the enemy was actually Shichibukai, Nami was a little nervous, but she was Shichibukai like Hawkeye who defeated Feng Yi so helplessly. Let's start from the Imperial City. Crocodile will definitely show up as long as we go to a few places. We won't let us sabotage his plans. Don't worry, he is a devil fruit power user. He is restrained by your cloud and mist fruit. He may not be your opponent. Chapter 157 Crocodile _. Seeing the worry in Nami's eyes, Feng Yi couldn't help Vivi Isho, and then said easily. Yeah, Nami couldn't help but nodded in response, her eyes shining with excitement. After more than half a year's journey, Nami has long understood how perverted her own cloud fruit is. It can be said that she is a devil fruit person. His nemesis has long been verified, and he has defeated several devil fruit power users. It's just that this time she is facing Crocodile, one of Shichibukai, so Nami will be nervous. After all, that is Shichibukai, and the name is scary enough. Okay, Nami, let's start. Let's reign in the imperial capital first. I will also summon a body of anger to help you. Our master and apprentice have come to an unprecedented storm. Feng Yi nodded when he saw Nami, this only Vivi Isho. At this time, they have come to the outside of the palace. Yeah, Nami nodded immediately after hearing the words. In addition to making money, Nami was also very happy to be able to help the common people. Body of rage, come out. Feng Yi didn't say anything more after hearing the words. Looking at Nami's delicate body, she let out a low voice. Nami's body of anger was gathered from Nami's body and stood beside Nami. What's that? Vivi, who came out behind, saw the body of anger that was suspected to be gathered on Nami's body. Vivi was shocked and didn't know what it was. But knowing that Nami was about to reign, Princess Vivi didn't ask. Anyway, she was on the pirate ship. She would know sooner or later, and she was not in a hurry. What she wanted to see more now was the reign of the legendary rain god Nami. Ability. Clouds. Nami glanced at her body of anger and couldn't help but smile, and then she gave a low drink, and the rolling clouds and mist flew out immediately, and then flew into the air. Clouds. Seeing that Nami began to use the ability of the cloud fruit, Feng Yi was not far behind, and immediately let Nami's body of anger also display the ability of the cloud fruit, and the clouds flew from the delicate body into the air, and the clouds and mists displayed by Nami were fused together, but Nami's clouds and mists were white, and the body of anger was crimson. After merging together, they all turned crimson. Soon, a large piece of red cloud and mist spread over the whole of Eunuch Huang. This scene made the king, ministers, and soldiers in the palace cry with joy. After half a year, I finally saw the cloud and mist all over the sky. Although the sky above the entire palace was covered with clouds and mists, both Nami and Nami's angry bodies did not stop the release of the clouds and mists, and they continued to emerge from the delicate body one after another. Until Nami's body of anger dissipates. Body of rage, come out. 5 minutes later, seeing the body of anger dissipate, Feng Yi couldn't help shouting at Nami again. The body of anger was once again gathered from Nami's delicate body. From Nami, Feng Yi summoned the body of anger 3 times in total, and the number of times he could summon in a day was used up by Feng Yi. And Nami also stopped after half an hour, her face pale, and the ability of the cloud fruit has been maximized by Nami. At this time, not only the entire palace, but the entire imperial capital was covered by red clouds. Nami didn't even have the ability to trigger the thunder, and the razor was already shining on it. When they saw the clouds and mist covering the entire imperial city, the people of the entire imperial city also burst into tears of joy. They were overjoyed. Because Feng Yi was also involved in causing all this, the emotional changes of so many people also directly benefited Feng Yi, and the emotional fruit ability in the body was constantly nourished. Although it is slow, the ability to clearly perceive the fruit of emotions is constantly getting stronger. That's it. Seeing Nami's delicate body shaking, Feng Yi hurriedly stepped forward to take Nami's delicate body in his arms, and cast the cloud and mist covering the entire imperial capital. Nami's fruit ability has also been used to the extreme. Yeah. Feeling the care of Dao Fengye, Nami couldn't help but sweetly isho, and then she laughed softly when she looked at the clouds covering the entire sky. Rain. Boom boom boom. After Nami's words fell, the red clouds in the sky tumbled, the razors flashed wildly, and the color of the clouds changed from red to black, and the whole sky suddenly fell into darkness, as if the night was coming. However, the kings and the people who saw this scene not only did not panic, but were overjoyed. Swish swish. Finally, a minute later, the violent downpour fell madly. For a time, the entire imperial capital was invaded by the heavy rain. In less than a few seconds, everyone outside was soaked in the heavy rain. However, at this time, they don't care about this. They are all jumping up and down in the rain. Half a year of drought, and the sudden downpour, they are not happy. It's no wonder that they are not happy. At this time, Feng Yi feels even more that his emotional fruit ability is increasing. Nami, you're so weak now, you can't get in the rain. Feng Yi hugged Nami and said in a low voice, and then turned to Princess Vivi. Princess Vivi, where is our accommodation? Nami can't get wet after releasing the rain, or she might catch a cold. After coming out, Feng Yi couldn't remember where the king arranged the accommodation for their pirate group. Can only ask Princess Vivi to lead the way. Ah, really? Come with me, and I'll take you there. Princess Vivi was shocked when she heard the words, looking at Nami, who was weak in Feng Yi's arms, and immediately said. Then, under the leadership of Princess Vivi, Feng Yi went to their accommodation with Nami in his arms. Kuina and the others didn't want to get wet outside, so they all left together. At this time, the king and the others continued to pick up the raindrops in the sky with their hands, and did not pay attention to Dao Fengye and the others leaving, but even if they did, they would not pay attention. For them who have enjoyed the drought for half a year, what could be more exciting than the rain at this time? If Princess Vivi is not going to lead the way, she will definitely enjoy the rain outside like crazy. At this time, on a high tower in the imperial capital, Crocodile was also drenched in the rain, looking in the direction of the palace, indignant. Damn, it's really raining, and it's raining that much. Crocodile scolded, with anger and fear in his eyes. Yes, it was fear, because he also found out that in Nami's Under the Rain, his fruit ability could not be used. Damn, the ability is restrained, what should I do? Crocodile murmured angrily. Dare to destroy my plan, I will never make it easier for you. What about the rain fruit? I'll make you unable to display the ability of rain. Chapter 158 Close the door. Crocodile then sneered wickedly, with a wicked brilliance in his eyes. Feng Yi didn't know that the Maple Leaf Pirates were hated by Crocodile, but even if he knew, Feng Yi wouldn't care, and being hated was also expected by Feng Yi. Under the leadership of Princess Vivi, Feng Yi and the others soon returned to their accommodation. Brother Feng Yi, Nami is so weak, let me help her recover first. After entering the room, Kaya looked at Nami who was weak in Feng Yi's arms and couldn't help but said to Feng Yi that she also used the ability of healing fruit to help Nami recover a few days ago. Yeah. Feng Yi nodded immediately when he heard the words, and let Nami sit on the bed, scolding himself inwardly, and actually forgot about Kaya's possible treatment. She was too nervous for Nami. Nami also knew this, so she obediently and happily let Feng Yi hold her back without reminding Feng Yi. Healing light. Hearing Feng Yi's words, Kaya immediately chuckled, and with the movement of her hands, a light of healing landed on Nami's delicate body. After a while, all the tiredness on Nami's body disappeared, and she was in good spirits again. But the consumption of fruit power is not something that Kaya can heal and recover. it can only be recovered by Nami herself. Seeing that Kaya is so powerful, Princess Vivi couldn't help but be amazed. She also knew about the abilities of the crew members of the Maple Leaf Pirates, but she didn't find that Kaya had such magical healing ability, and Feng Yi summoned Nami. The ability of the body of anger is also not found in the information. Sister Nami, Sister Kaya. You guys are amazing. Then Princess Vivi involuntarily praised Kaya and Nami. Of course, there are also Kuina and the others. Princess Vivi also knows that each of Kuina and the others is very powerful. Vivi, let the master help you find a devil fruit, and Kaya has become as powerful as us. Nami, who had recovered her physical strength and was no longer tired, smiled at Princess Vivi immediately after hearing what Princess Vivi said. Devil fruit. Princess Vivi couldn't help but murmured, her eyes flashing with hope. Of course she knows what devil fruit is, but even Alabasta has never gotten one, and 99% of the devil fruit that appeared on the Great Voyage Road were swallowed. Because everyone on the Great Voyage Road hopes that they can become strong, and they will never betray the devil fruit. Yeah, Princess Vivi, you will also be a member of our Maple Leaf Pirates in the future. Feng Yi will definitely find a devil fruit for you. Tashigi also smiled at Princess Vivi. Princess Vivi responded lightly when she heard the words, and then she remembered that she had agreed to join the Maple Leaf Pirates, and she didn't know whether to be happy or sad for a while. I'm happy to be able to go out like Nami and the others, but I'm sad that she was forced to join the pirates by Feng Yi, not of her own accord. Moreover, being a crew member of the Maple Leaf Pirates may be another thing that Princess Vivi is not happy about. That is, the crew on the ship are all women of the Captain Feng Yi. Thinking of this, Princess Vivi couldn't help but turn her head to look at Feng Yi, only to find that Feng Yi's eyes had been greedily scanning her delicate body. Ah! Princess Vivi only made it out because of the rain. Her clothes were soaking wet at this time, the light blue clothes were almost transparent, and the graceful and slender curves were also shown because the clothes were tightly attached to her body. After a coquettish cry, Princess Vivi's pretty face turned red. In the Desert Kingdom, she had few clothes on her body. At this time, she was almost half naked in front of Feng Yi. What are you looking at? Then Princess Vivi naturally blushed and said angrily to Feng Yi. She turned sideways and didn't dare to look at Feng Yi. Hey, of course I'm looking at beauties. Feng Yi couldn't help but isho. Since Nami was cured, Feng Yi's eyes have been swept across Princess Vivi's body in amazement. Of course, Nami and the others were also wet and half-naked. It's just that Nami and the others have seen all the naked leaves, so they put their eyes on Princess Vivi. Looking at Princess Vivi who turned sideways, Feng Yi couldn't help but suffocate Vivi again. Because of the relationship between the body, Princess Vivi's pair of proud and tall jade girls were perfectly presented, and the perfect curve was even more obvious. Master, Vivi just joined our Maple Leaf Pirates. I won't allow you to bully her. Seeing Feng Yi's lustful eyes, Nami couldn't help but giggled and hugged Princess Vivi, but Feng Yi looked at Princess Vivi's delicate body and turned her head towards Feng Yi pretending to be vicious. Nami, you dare to go against the master, see if the master doesn't take care of you well. Feng Yi sneered immediately when he saw Nami's appearance, also with a fierce look, and then pulled Nami into his arms. Ah! Nami was pulled into her arms by Feng Yi all of a sudden, and she couldn't help but let out a coquettish cry. Nami, who was pulled into her arms by Feng Yi, couldn't help but Vivi's pretty face turned red. She clearly felt that the dragon under Feng Yi was not. Honestly, it's hot between her legs. Little girl film, I'll let you know the consequences of going against the master. After pulling Nami into his arms, Feng Yi swayed again, and Nami's delicate body was even more seductive and attractive to Feng Yi. Evil isho, Feng Yi pressed Nami on the bed, and pulled down Nami's short shorts at once, revealing Nami's pink buttocks. Xiaonei was also pulled down by Feng Yi at once. Ah! Woo! No sir! Feeling the coldness of her buttocks, Nami couldn't help but immediately exclaimed, her pretty face flushed, Princess Vivi is still here. Princess Vivi also stared blankly at Nami being pressed on the bed by Feng Yi, pulling down her pants, revealing her buttocks. This isn't Feng Yi going to hit Nami's ass. Humph. Going against the master every time. This is the end of going against the master. Feng Yi sneered evilly when he heard Nami's words. As soon as he raised his hand, Vivi slapped Nami's tender buttocks hard. Snapped. With the tap of Feng Yi's palm, a loud voice resounded immediately. Ah! After Feng Yi slapped her pink buttocks, Nami couldn't help but let out a coquettish cry. Her face flushed all of a sudden, and her pink buttocks trembled after Feng Yi's palm left. She looked so beautiful. Makes one can't wait to nibble on it. I'm going back first. Seeing Feng Yi training Nami, Princess Vivi didn't know what to do for a while, and she couldn't plead for Nami. At this time, she just felt that she had to leave here quickly. There was too much Feng Yi and Nami too much in the room. Princess Vivi didn't dare to stay here any longer. While talking, Princess Vivi ran out, and Feng Yi didn't stop her. There was time to eat, Princess Vivi, so don't be in a hurry. What Feng Yi thinks most now is Nami in front of her. Nojiko, go and close the door. With one hand, he slapped Nami's pink buttocks again, and Feng Yi said to Nami's sister Nojiko. Chapter 159_coming. Yeah. Nojiko couldn't help but smiled and responded lightly. They hadn't seen Feng Yi for a few days, and they also knew what Feng Yi was going to do next. They didn't resist, they just looked forward to it. It seems that today Feng Yi will kill them all with one shot. Ah! Of Nojiko's 8 doors, after slapping Nami's sweet buttocks a few times, Feng Yi finally couldn't resist the urge to look at Nami's sweet buttocks. On the sweet buttocks, she greedily took a few bites, and Nami suddenly shouted proudly. The delicate body immediately softened. After biting greedily on Nami's sweet buttocks, Feng Yi pulled Nami's shorts and Xiaonei down, while he lifted up Nami's top and kissed Nami's pink back all the way up, and soon the entire delicate body of Nami was peeled off by Feng Yi. Ah! In less than a while, Nami's excited and contented scream rang out in the room, and then the excited roar resounded like an unstoppable nonstop. It was only 3 days that I didn't see each other, and Feng Yi's sexual desire had accumulated to a certain height. After eating Nami in the beating room arranged by the king, Kuina Kaya and the others didn't let Feng Yi go, and they were pulled over by Feng Yi. He undressed on the bed and got on the gun. For the whole afternoon, Feng Yi was having a carnival with the girls. The heavy rain outside continued for several hours before it stopped, and the dark clouds in the sky gradually dissipated. The entire imperial capital was in a mess, but it was filled with a clear coolness. In the evening, Princess Vivi came to ask Feng Yi and the others to have dinner, but as soon as she arrived, she heard the voices of the girls chanting constantly in the room, and Princess Vivi could only blushed and fled. It wasn't until night that Feng Yi and the others stopped fighting. After all the girls had bathed, they opened the door of the room and let the servants outside bring food over, and have a nice meal. After eating, the girls lost their strength and fell asleep. The next day, when Feng Yi and the others got up, Princess Vivi was already waiting outside. Captain, where is the rain going outside today? Seeing Feng Yi coming out, Princess Vivi said to Feng Yi, and now she has agreed to join the Maple Leaf Pirates. Princess Vivi can only let herself integrate into Feng Yi and the others. And for the relief of the country's drought, the kind-hearted Princess Vivi is not in a hurry. Hey, to save Alabasta from the drought, it is definitely not enough for us to go to various places to get rain. We can only rain once, and it will return to the drought after that. Feng Yi couldn't help Vivi laugh when he heard this. Ah. Then, what should I do? Princess Vivi couldn't help but be surprised when she heard the words. She hadn't thought about this question before. If this is the case, if Feng Yi and the others go to all the towns in the whole country and leave once it rains, isn't that a return to drought? Feng Yi, they can't stay in Alabasta all the time. You remember what I said yesterday? Seeing Princess Vivi's worried look, Feng Yi couldn't help but smile. Yeah. Princess Vivi nodded. That's it, the drought in your country is all caused by Crocodile, just kill him. Feng Yi said with a relaxed smile. Quote. Princess Vivi didn't answer when she heard the words, and she still didn't believe that Crocodile, the hero of Alabasta, was the one who caused the drought in the empire. You can tell if you don't believe it. That's good. As long as the drought problem in your country is not solved, our Maple Leaf Pirates will not leave. Feng Yi couldn't help but open his mouth when he saw Princess Vivi's appearance. You are more familiar with this country, so you can take us to reign everywhere. I believe that as long as our pirate group doesn't intend to leave, Crocodile will definitely be able to take action against us. Then wait for Princess Vivi to answer. Feng Yi said again. Also, Vivi, find someone to tell your father and let him spread the word about the constant rain that our pirates will stay all over Alabasta. These are what Feng Yi thought of last night, because if it only rains in various places, Feng Yi thinks that Crocodile may not show up, because as long as it rains everywhere, if they leave the Maple Leaf Pirates, it will not have much impact. Crocodile's plan. So I immediately figured out this way to force Crocodile to take action. Yeah, I'll send someone a message right away. Princess Vivi was excited when she heard the words. Then Princess Vivi hurriedly called a soldier who followed her and asked the soldier to take the words back to her father. Haha, great, I forgot about this yesterday. I'm still thinking about how to tell Captain Feng Yi about this. After the king heard the soldier's words, he immediately laughed, but his tone was not very happy, because all this was exchanged for his daughter's sacrifice. Moreover, the king also knew about Feng Yi's accommodation yesterday, and he confirmed the rumor that Feng Yi was a super pervert. This made him feel like Princess Vivi jumped into the wolf's mouth. We can only wait for this to be over and let Feng Yi treat Vivi better. The king then murmured. Damn Maple Leaf Pirates. And after hearing the news, Crocodile, as Feng Yi expected, roared angrily and resolutely flashed a firm ruthless look in his eyes, and decided to take action against Feng Yi and the others. In the next week, Feng Yi and Nami, led by Princess Vivi, went to town after town to reign. Feng Yi's emotional fruit ability has been continuously enhanced because of this. In the end, Feng Yi has already sensed that he has stripped away the body of anger and can already summon 4 times in one day. During this week, Feng Yi and the others had also been to the rainy land, and it rained there. Feng Yi originally thought that Crocodile would attack them in the rainy land, but how could he know that Crocodile didn't do it? However, in the Rain Hotel Zala, Feng Yi brought her back to the team, because she has become Feng Yi's woman, so although Zala is usually cold, she still tried her best to integrate into the pirate group. As a member of Baroque Works, he is very good at communication, and Zala quickly let Nami and the others fully accept her entry. Nami, just use half of the ability of the rain today. Don't use it all up. Above the town of Alabasta Linlu, seeing that Nami was going to exert her ability to rain with all her strength again, Feng Yi suddenly called out to Nami. Because in this town, Feng Yi has already sensed a few malicious mood swings. Looks like Crocodile can't help but take action at last. Hey, Robin is here too. Feng Yi secretly laughed in his heart, also because he sensed Robin's mood swings, so Feng Yi was very sure that those with malicious emotions must be Crocodile and the others. Chapter 160_battle begins. Yeah, I see. Nami nodded immediately when she heard the words, and when she heard Feng Yi's words, Nami knew that the enemy Feng Yi said would appear today, and Vivi became suspicious. Facing Crocodile, one of Shichibukai, she would definitely be nervous. Kuina and the others were also nervous when they heard this, especially Zala, who might be facing Zheng Jin's companion soon, and she was even more nervous. Feng Yi, will the enemy really be Crocodile? At this time, Princess Vivi still didn't quite believe that Crocodile would attack the Empire. Hey, I'll find out later. Kuina, Xiu, you all have to prepare for battle. Feng Yi laughed lightly when he heard this, and said to Kuina and the others at the same time. The girls nodded in unison after hearing this, but they were not as worried as Zala and Princess Vivi, because with Feng Yi around, they felt that no one would be Feng Yi's opponent. Cloud and Mist Fruit. And Nami didn't speak anymore, and immediately displayed the ability of the Cloud and Mist Fruit. If she saw Nami using the cloud and mist fruit, it was not the cloud that emerged from her body and flew into the air. But the whole body turned into clouds and mist, and after flying into the air, the constant gathering of suspicion grew stronger. This means that Nami has become more proficient and powerful in the use of the cloud and mist fruit. If Nami wanted to cast rain or thunder before, she could not use it when her body was elemental, but now it is possible. In this way, Nami will truly become the nemesis of devil fruit power users. Incarnation of Nami who has become a cloud and mist, she can use rain and thunder to kill the enemy at any time, and she will not be unable to because of the rain. Unleash your fruit power. You must know that Nami used to cast rain or thunder from a long distance, because as long as she was caught by the rain, she would also lose the ability of the devil fruit, and could no longer control the clouds in the air. Damn, could it be found out that Feng Yi didn't show the ability to replicate the devil fruit. In Linwu City, watching Nami transform into a cloud and fly into the air, Crocodile's eyes flashed with fear, and then saw that Feng Yi didn't use the devil fruit ability as he had seen in other towns. His eyelids jumped. Although he didn't know how Feng Yi found out, he was sure that they were ambushed in the city and Feng Yi knew about it. Damn, in this way, even if the rain god Nami's fruit power is exhausted, the sealed leaf can still be copied. Damn it, even if there is a devil fruit ability user with rainfall ability, that Feng Yi can actually replicate her rainfall ability. After knowing that Feng Yi noticed it, Crocodile scolded repeatedly in his heart. After a week of observation, Crocodile also discovered that every time Nami used up the power of the devil fruit, so did Feng Yi, so he planned to Nami attacked under the premise of not being able to cast the rain, but Feng Yi discovered it before it even started. President, what should we do now? Do we still need to take action? Mr. 3, who was beside Crocodile, saw that Feng Yi did not summon the body of anger, and guessed that they had been discovered, so he could not help asking Crocodile. Be honest, when they found out that their president was actually Crocodile, one of Shichibukai, the members of Baroque Works including him were all taken aback. At this time, behind Crocodile, there are Mr. .2 Bentham, Mr. 3 and his partner who can draw a little lowly, and Mr. .5 who has the ability to explode fruit, and the person who has the ability to float fruit. Basically, except for the Baroque Works Club, the few killed by Feng Yi have all appeared. In addition to a few figures that Feng Yi is familiar with, there are also beings that Feng Yi does not know. The members who joined the Baroque Works Club earlier, that is, the members who will die in these 2 years, one of them is because of attracting Zoro. Not a killed member. Mr. 3, is there any way to prevent that Nami's rain from falling on us? Crocodile asked Mr. .3 with gloomy eyes. Yes, I just need to make a super candle castle and keep the rain out, but in this way, the outer layer will dissolve due to the rain, so I have to keep thickening the wax layer. Can't participate in the battle. Hearing Crocodile's question, Mr. .3 pondered for a while, and then opened his mouth to Crocodile. This is an important and very labor-intensive job. If there is no other way, Mr. .3 would not want to use it. However, after knowing that his leader is one of Shichibukai, Mr. .3 certainly wants to perform well. Okay, you will create a super candle castle later, and you will be Mr. 1 in the future. Crocodile immediately praised Mr. .3 upon hearing this. Chi. When Nami's reign was still complete, the clouds and mist in the sky began to dissipate. Where Feng Yi and the others were, layers of white candles surged out, and they were surrounded by Feng Yi and the others from a distance. Get up. Everyone be careful, the enemy has appeared. When Feng Yi sensed the movement around him, he whispered to Kuina and the others. Sand Crocodile, I know you're here, come out, since you're here, you don't need to hide. After the words were finished, Feng Yi said lightly. Although the voice was not loud, it was clearly transmitted to Crocodile and the others. Boom. At the same time, the incomparably powerful Conqueror Haki burst out from Feng Yi. Shichibukai has Shichibukai's Haki. If Feng Yi called him like this, Crocodile would definitely come out, otherwise he would be difficult to control his men in the future. Humph. Sure enough, The moment Feng Yi's words fell, a cold snort resounded, and then a burst of mad sand swirls out of a hidden corner, and finally appeared in front of Feng Yi, suspected of gathering into a single figure. It's Crocodile. Whoosh whoosh. After Crocodile came out, Mr. 2 Bentham, Mr. 3, Little Lolita Miss, Going Joe and Fluttering Fruit Ability Miss. Valentine's Day all came out of hiding one by one. And Robin, 10 people in total. As they came out, visible to the naked eye, layers of candles surrounded all the people on both sides. A huge candle castle quickly surrounded them. In the entire candle castle, if Nami uses the ability of rain, Mr. Point 3 can immediately pull out the candle layer from the huge castle and isolate the rain and fog. Looking at Crocodile, Feng Yi lost interest at a glance, and turned to Robin instead. To Robin Vivi Isho. Then Feng Yi looked at 2 other people he was interested in, Little Lowly Miss Going Joe and Miss Valentine's Day. The former was not only a cute little loli, but also had the same ability to control emotions as him. It's no wonder that Yi is not curious. Although her ability to control her emotions needs to be done in the form of a painting.